Hello, kiddos. 8 o'clock somewhere. That is the case, actually. Everyone, don't mind the boyfriendo in the background. He's gaming with friendos right now, so say hi, babe.
Hi.
If you hear any extraneous noises in the background while I'm talking, that would be the explanation for that. De La Haste, I'll bet Polly be 6 minutes late. Yep, that sounds about right.
You'll find a blowhole.
We're entering a new phase of our relationship where we can determine if, I don't know, our silly noises are compatible. You think they are, babe?
Sure.
He agrees. Cavalier says 11 minutes late.
All that shit.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm trying a new beer. Blue Moon, El Boyfriendo got it for me. Lenny Stanfield says he bets Polly will be 46 minutes late. That's quite a bit. Oh, look at that. He's here. Hi, Polly. Oh,
Yep.
I'm off to the side here. Hang on, let me fix this. I can fix it.
All right.
I can fix it.
Okay.
I can fix it.
I believe you.
I fixed it. We Gucci gang. I can fix it a little bit more. So now I don't have to move anything except for my finger. Oh, before we get into the swing of things, be warned, a boyfriendo is gaming in the background. So any extraneous gaming noises are him
Okay.
gaming.
Gotcha.
And take a ridiculous breakfast.
Anyway,
Is that
so how are you, Polly?
I'm doing all right, I guess.
Just all right? Not supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
God,
No.
No. Is there a reason for that, or is it just, you know,
Just ugh.
rough? I'm so sorry.
No, I was just mocking what you said.
Excuse me.
Let's see.
What's going on tonight, Weebo? He's gaming. I'm streaming. Business as usual, basically. Holly, what are you doing?
Just hanging out, being awesome. Waiting for my coffee to finish brewing.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it is.
That's fair. Okay, I have a question. Do you have a preference in terms of where you get your roast from? Like country-wise, or does it matter to you?
No. I'm a coffee snob, but I'm not insane. Right?
I'm coffee snob, but I'm not insane.
And so do the kids.
As long as it's a good roast, I'm happy with it.
That's going to be happening for probably most of the evening, so I apologize ahead
My
of
ear
time.
popped when I did that.
Hilarious.
I don't fucking know what's going on. He's playing Sea of Thieves, right, babe?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what he's doing.
Talk about Joe Biden sniffing children.
Topical, I guess. Polly, are you the type to vote early, or are you waiting until the very last
just
day?
topical. If it's topical, it's topical.
Oh, I'm waiting to the last day. I mean, it's not the last day; it's the day.
What I mean is, like, the last day is in the last possible day that you can, which is the day that you're supposed to vote, typically. But everyone that I know has gone and voted early.
Really?
Like, I know IRL that is going to vote has voted early.
Gotcha.
Me included.
Did you vote already?
Yeah, I did. I voted early. Yeah. I went into my polling place, or not polling place, voting place, and I voted.
Cannot blame her for that.
Which is fine.
I don't talk about politics.
Now, I'm not going to ask, because I don't think... Okay, here's the thing. People ask other people who they're voting for, their opinions on, candidates. But while I have opinions on candidates, I don't think that we should... I don't think it's polite conversation to demand that someone else tells you who they're voting for. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I find it to be annoying. But more than that, I also find it to be a little bit invasive because of the current climate of politics. If shit weren't the way that it was in terms of relations between the parties, I don't think it would be that big of a deal. But because everyone and their mother is gung-ho about their side of the aisle, it can be a little bit off-putting or upsetting to some people to hear that you're not voting the same way that they are. And so I think that in order to avoid that level of conflict, definitely just back off of that.
Especially if you're like me and the fat fuck and you just eat it right out of the tub.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Even with the background noise?
You realize that you and your boyfriend are like at the same level of volume, right?
Are we really?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to understand you because it sounds like there's two people talking in the mic at the same time. At least for me, it does. I don't know. Maybe Chad hears it differently, but.
All right, let me see if I can do anything about that.
That's so rare.
Is it just because he's got a loud voice?
I don't know. I think it's just because of the nature of your mic. Like it just happens to be picking both of you up very, very well. Right. That's all.
That's a testament to Yeti technology, isn't it?
No kidding.
Let me see if I can adjust the gains. All right. Let me know if it's better or worse.
ASMR Weebo.
Okay. Is this better or is this worse? In terms of like the things that you can hear.
I don't know. He hasn't started talking again. What the fuck?
Babe, say something random.
Random.
Are we still at the same level or no?
No.
Okay. So if I keep the microphone right in front of my face, like an ASMR thought,
I'm a failure and
it should be fine, right?
One would think.
Mm-hmm.
I said a lot of words for being drunk. Correctly.
We'll see. This is rather distracting. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if this is going to work. Oh, you did finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I forgot where I saved it to, but there it is.
Get back, idiot.
Okay. What? So how long did it take you to actually do that?
The time that we were talking after the movie. Yeah.
After the movie, that was it?
Yep.
Did you have to superimpose it from something else, or did you just create a mask for the otter?
No, I just grabbed it from online. I just, believe it or not, I just searched for cartoon surgical mask and found that like right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then altered it a little bit, and it was white to begin with, so I colored it blue and then put it. Yeah, so there's just a couple adjustments to make it look like it actually fit on the little guy's face.
Cool. I'm going to see if... Hang on. I want to try something else. Because I don't know what it sounds like to everyone else, but it sounds a lot louder to me. Just the amount of shenanigans. So I turned down the gain, but I'm moving closer to limit the amount of interaction that is in the background there. We're experimenting.
W.R. Costin says, why is Polly hiding the fact he's an evil otter? I was just looking for my masked otter. Okay, I believe in social distancing. Cuomo wants the best for us. Wear your masks.
You mean Chris Cuomo, the governor of New York?
What did I say?
Governor. No. You didn't say anything. I'm just clarifying here that is the correct Cuomo that we're talking about. Is Chris the politician or is... I can't remember.
No, that's Andrew.
Andrew Cuomo is the politician. Chris is the personality.
Bandito otter. Yeah, that's Fredo. Yeah.
Fredo. I forgot how he got that name. And frankly, I don't care. And frankly,
I guess those
Fredo, like, it means nothing to me. So I don't see why it was a big deal in the first place.
Fredo's from The Godfather. There's Don Corleone has 3 sons. The dumb one is Fredo. The other 2 are successful and well thought of. And the dumb loser that got his job simply because of his name was Fredo Corleone. Yeah. So he's Italian. The Cuomos are Italian. So there's 3 brothers. Let's name the dumb one Fredo. Ha ha.
That's right. I forgot about that. But also, I've never seen The Godfather, so that would be why.
Well, Weebo has just nailed the next movie we'll be watching. That's fine. It's merely a 9.5-hour trilogy. It's
All three or just the first one? Like,
No,
I
all
heard
three.
that they get worse as you go forward.
Not even close to being true. That's just internet talk.
Okay. All right. Because, yeah, that's been a curse of trilogies in my lifetime at the very least, is that they get just worse with more time. And, of course, now that I'm talking about it, I can't think of a single goddamn example
Of what?
of a trilogy that got worse over time.
Star Wars?
It's not a trilogy. That's like a quinsextology or whatever the hell.
It's like a space opera. It's not just a trilogy.
Like Stansfield
It's
asked,
a
was Plato
religion
the
at
one
this
who
point.
Michael killed? Well, Michael ordered him killed, but yes. Spoilers.
Movie wise, I think didn't The Hobbit get worse over time?
Possibly. I
Did
never
you
saw
never
any
see
of
The
that.
Hobbit?
Did they
Matrix.
make 3
that was-
Hobbitses? Oh, fuck yeah.
I
Yeah, The
think
Matrix.
they
Good
split it up
example.
into 3.
Yeah, Matrix definitely got
Matrix.
worse as it went. Yeah.
Human
Hey, what's our
Centipede. Yes, Lanny. Human Centipede definitely got worse over time as you progressed in the trilogy. It didn't get worse because, like,
Yeah, you watched it, so I didn't have to.
it got worse. It got so much worse. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. That being said, I will watch bad movies for money. My shame has no bounds.
You need a sign, a picture of you standing on the sidewalk with a piece of cardboard that says, I'll watch bad movies for money.
All right, chat, get on it. Stat.
Okay, I'm going to go press out my coffee. I'll be right back.
He gonna press his coffee.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I
all
got
right.
you. Mhm,
I'll be back.
yep, mhm. You enjoy that
Yeah,
pressing of the
Star Wars.
coffee. Yeah, I am having war flashbacks. They're horrible. It's bad. All right. That I'm still wondering if that entire review and the amount of money that we got for that was worth it. I'm still wondering, but it's done. It's over with. It is what it is. John Wick. Okay, I heard that twice today. John Wick Chapter 3 was not bad. That being said, I haven't actually seen the first John Wick movie. I've only seen the last 2. So I don't exactly know what I'm missing, I guess. Or if it does get worse. That's what happens when you start from the middle, I guess. But that's the second time that I've heard that today, is that John Wick Chapter 3 is the worst of the trilogy. I don't know. I should probably see the first John Wick in order to make that determination. World War III will definitely be worse than the first 2, Cavalier says. You're not wrong, because at this point, I don't think there will be anyone left at the end of said war. Remember, guys, we have mutually assured destruction with most of the developed world. And the only people who will be left at the end of all that shenanigans are the cockroaches of the world. And I say that as a compliment. Quill says, how dare. Is that because I haven't seen John Wick Chapter 3? Because I'm sorry. What else gets worse with time? I think, didn't Jurassic Park get worse over time too? Like, the first movie was gold standard, but subsequent releases were less. So it's been a while since I saw the rest of them, but that's what I remember.
Might be single boys.
The first movie was fine. It was fantastic. It was a masterpiece of cinematic epic proportions.
It's just like a T-Rex. If I don't move, she can't see me.
No, I could see you.
Shit.
But the next 2 movies do not hold a candle to the first movie. Can we agree on this?
Yes, but
That's what I'm
the
making a
series
point
is
about.
still really good, and your opinion is wrong.
Oh my god. We'll have this discussion later.
Will we? I don't think we will.
Yeah, we will.
We won't.
Anyway, so chat, how are we this fine evening? I see we have Quill in the chat, Upside Down Harlot, Pear de Bear, Simic Magic, Fear No Evil, Ryan Walters, Lion Patriot, No One, Meshi, here. Oh gosh, I wish I could. Hang on. Meshi Kiara E. I will try. Give me like a pronunciation guide in the chat, please, and thank you, because that would be super helpful. Spirit Thief, Weebo, just more proof that women like assholes for some reason. Lol. Ha! Chat called you an asshole, babe.
Okay, that's fine.
Just kidding. Quill says the first Jurassic Park was fucking awesome, and it's because you haven't seen the first John Wick. How dare! At Weebo Jones. Yeah, I know. I haven't seen the first John Wick. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've seen the last two. I would love to see the first John Wick.
Hello.
Hi, Polly.
Oh, John Wick, the first one. We can watch that.
I haven't seen the first one. Have you?
Oh yeah, I've got copies that I purchased.
Legitimate copies that you
from
purchased?
perfectly legitimate sources.
From perfectly legitimate sources. Good. Meshikiari. Okay, that's how you say that name.
On an unrelated subject, do you have a VPN service?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay. Okay, just thought I'd ask.
We'll talk later. All right.
Hey, Farce here. Yay.
Polly, I have a question.
7 inches.
That was not my question.
Oh.
So I want to delve philosophically into a topic, and it stems from, you know how we judge parents based off of their children, but we're not supposed to judge children based off of their kids.
So you cut out there for me for a second. You say we're not supposed to do what?
So ideally, the tendency for humanity is that we judge parents, at least their parenting style, based off of the children or the adults that they produce and put out into the world. However, contrarily, you're not supposed to judge the son for the sins of the father, to use like a saying to describe that.
I'm gonna grab a couple of
Yeah, well, I think that's speaking of like justice and convictions in courts and such. But okay,
we need to.
That saying specifically is for
fairly.
justice.
That's what I always associated with the sins of the father. The idea that they transfer along. That if you're, you commit a crime, your kid is now responsible for.
Yeah.
What you've done, because fuck you.
Yes. To another extent, though, a lot of people do give a lot of other people flack for what it is that their ancestors presumably did, right? And we don't like that.
Or people that remotely resemble their ancestors. Yes.
Exactly. Like, okay, this white man did this thing, therefore you are responsible for this white man's bad action because you answer for said all white people who have ever existed. That, but to a lesser degree, I'm talking more of a direct genetic existence.
All right.
So take that and compare it to the idea that we hold parents solely responsible, typically responsible for the types of children that they produce, right?
Okay.
Should we, though, in all cases, for all things that have to do with children, hold the parent responsible for all things that the child does? Like, at what point do we hold children more accountable for their own actions than we hold the parent accountable for the child's actions?
That one was only up for like 2 minutes.
We're assuming we're talking about adult children here?
No, because the question is dynamic by nature. Like, at what point do we hold a child accountable? The child being like the offspring of a parent. At what point do we hold that child responsible for themselves rather than their upbringing being responsible for themselves? Does that make sense? Like, where's the cutoff? Both in terms of age and in terms of, I guess, conviction, maybe? That makes sense. Should I rephrase? Should I try to?
No, no matter what, it needs to be almost be done on a case-by-case basis. I don't think that there's a broad principle that can be applied to it, because name the principle, like, name the given age or whatever, it's very, very easy to come up with a good number of examples that'll violate it. And when you'll say, well, not in that case. Well, not in that case. And I think that that is because it's particularly difficult. I don't think it's possible to come up with a broad-based principle upon which, being that I'm an individualist, I have a bias and a tendency towards saying as soon as somebody is of the age of reason and the age of majority, then you are wholly responsible regardless of what's happened. You can't use it as an excuse, but then you start coming up with examples. Well, really, can't you? Because I don't know. I have a tendency towards individualism, so I'd like to say as soon as somebody's between, I don't know, somewhere between 15 and 18, they are wholly responsible for their own actions regardless, and the excuses become just that, thin excuses.
But you think it's on a case by case basis?
Yeah, but even saying that, I can think of a bunch of counterexamples to it. So ultimately, I think my position has to be so many exceptions. And I'm not talking about like the weak bullshit that people throw around on YouTube, like, well, that's the exception that proves the rule. I heard somebody somewhere say that once and it sounded smart, so I'm going to say it now. Like the way that people say you can't prove a negative, and it's like, yeah, actually you can prove a negative. What you're thinking of is you can't. I'm sorry, I just hear people use philosophical sayings all the time without any understanding of what they mean. It drives me nuts. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Is that because I said sins of the father, yada yada? No.
I meant like philosophical sayings, like logical proof sayings and stuff like that. Like, you can't prove a negative. Yeah, you actually can prove negatives. They just have to be necessarily entailed negatives, and they're totally easy to prove.
We get it, Polly. You took philosophy in college or high school. I'm just kidding. I'm teasing.
Well, it should be available in high school, shouldn't it? God damn it! But no, I did. One of my majors was philosophy in my bachelor's. But you know what? You get that. Well, you know what? People throw around that word. Logical, reasonable, empirical, rational. Oh, and people love using that word logical. Yeah, but let's not actually apply any of the technical realities of logic. Let's not actually be able to define logic. Let's just throw around, well, that's a fallacy. That's what people want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm a little bit bitter about it, but I don't give a fuck. It's true. Turn on any commentary channel. Listen to people throw around terms that they don't fucking understand. If people did it with math, they'd be having a hairy fucking hissy fit. Oh, well, you can't divide that like that. You mean multiply? Whatever, brainiac. I don't care about your bookie book words. Well, then why are you fucking using them then? People wouldn't let you get away with that with math. But logic is as consistent as math. Well, but yeah, people throw around the words for it all the time. Just because it wraps up what they're saying in some kind of credibility. That's what they like. The borrowed credibility, not the actual consistency of the thing. Anyway.
Well, words can literally mean anything. I'm not saying that I like the fact that they're so malleable in the minds of other people, but the word legitimately has transcended its original meaning in contemporary culture. You know that. I know that. We're happy about it. The word literally.
Oh, yeah, I know. No, you're right. Jesus,
or the word seriously or awesome. Like I said, it has transcended what it originally meant and over time has adjusted in the common vernacular. And as a result, because of this...
Well, you know what? What was the word?
We are less frustrated, are we not?
We are, and there's certain things you can accept just because you kind of have to, because it happened, regardless of anyone's individual, like you said, frustration. Okay, antisocial. A psychologist says this person is displaying antisocial tendencies. That's bad news, man. But if an average person just sitting at a coffee shop says that person is displaying antisocial tendencies, that just means they're shy. Yeah. A psychologist says it means they need therapy and possibly institutionalization because they're incapable of empathizing with others. Thus, stabbing someone to death doesn't seem like a problem. Antisocial personality disorder is a heavy-duty thing. But you have to accept it. But all I'm saying is, when it comes to literally, I think we should all collectively shed a tear.
Rip.
Well, do you mean literally or figuratively literally? Oh my God, what did I just say?
That word doesn't mean anything anymore. We can all agree. But okay, so I'm glad that you brought up the stabbing 6-year-old antisocial personality disorder angle of this, because that's literally what inspired me to come up with this question of when does the line of responsibility get drawn for a person?
Okay.
Because we watched Halloween last night, and Mike Myers literally, spoiler alert to everyone who hasn't seen like me last night. Mike Myers literally just stabs his sister in the first 5 seconds of the movie, and he's 6.
Yeah, big
and I'm
old
like,
kitty sister.
I started thinking to myself, I'm like, so who takes responsibility for that? Is that the parents for being negligent and letting their child get into the knives, or is that like are we holding the child responsible for stabbing his sister at the age of 6? Because it's 6 years old.
Well, you know what? Somebody, I'm sorry, like further back up said in chat, parents are not responsible for like antisocial tendencies because, and I agree with what they're saying. There's like a genetic aspect to what's going on. Michael Myers is fucked. That's the whole, he's, Dr. Loomis said he's this source of evil, blah, blah, blah. Like as that character is defined, no, his parents are not responsible at all. The idea is that he's fuckered structurally, mentally. He's, whatever way you want to put it. Thank you, Assassin of the Grey.
Extremely rare case, is it not?
Yeah.
And then we get the Danielle Bergolis of the world who are sheerly a result. Sheerly? Oh God, words. What are they? Who is simply just a result of her upbringing. If I were a betting person, not that I have any psychoanalytic perspective that trumps anyone else's, and not that I have any insight into Danielle, bad babe bitch, the
What?
Dr. Phil guy, and the Dr. Phil bitch. Do you know?
Cash You Outside girl?
Cash Me Outside girl. How about that? Yeah. That bitch. Solely a result of her upbringing. So who do we hold responsible for? Not just her behavior, but also who she turned out to be as a person.
Did you hear Tommy Sotomayor's
No
judgment on that? When he did the video. For those of you who don't know, Tommy Sotomayor is a comedian and a commentary channel on YouTube, and he's raw comedy. He's a very outspoken guy. The title of his video sums up his entire opinion on the Cash Me Outside girls. It's white fathers. This is why you shouldn't allow your girls to hang out with black girls.
You're right, though.
That damn Tommy.
That's one way to look at that.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I started thinking about this really in depth because we have a whole bunch of examples on the internet.com of children who I consider to be children under 18 because, like you said, there are too many exceptions to the rule for both sides. Like kids who are too young to, or kids who are like Mike Myers, who exercise some extreme personality traits at a very young age, and that is not due to the upbringing that their parents have imposed upon them. And then we have people on the other side of the fence who are also the extremes, who are 25, who really should not have been spared the rod as a child, let's be honest. And so I guess the apex of the question here, the what it all boils down to is,
I think you meant apogee, but
is it the apogee? Okay.
I don't know. I'm just like, whatever. Go on.
Precipice.
We've reached the crossroads of a precipice.
The climax of the question that I'm proposing here is
crescendo, possibly. Yeah.
Okay, I like that one. The crescendo of all of this amounts to essentially, where do we draw that line to have some sort of standard?
Well, I don't. Okay, you know what? Pear to Bear says it's like some inherent behaviors are intensified by poor parenting. That is the current model in psychology, at least as I remembered it. It's not a one-for-one thing, which annoys people to no degree, to no end. It's like, well, what do you mean? Some people, when they are reaching sexual maturity through puberty, are through life circumstance are being subjected to violence, particularly by parents, and thus make a connection in their mind at the point of developing sexual maturity that, or reaching sexual maturity, that violence equals sexual thoughts. and thus sadism and masochism are born or are sparked within them. But then there's other people that have no violence in their childhood, but yet are drawn towards sadism or masochism. So I mean, it's not a one-for-one thing. Sometimes you can see the connection, sometimes you can't. You're asking, where do you draw the line? I say the only way to draw the line and do so consistently is to the way the legal standard currently operates. I'm not trying to say in the particular cases, like literally legal cases that it happens, that it's always just. I'm saying the conception by which it is enacted, in my mind, works for justice. You don't hold the parents legally responsible. You hold the individual legally responsible once they've reached the age of majority. Yes, we can feel bad for you. Oh, you had this horrible childhood, but nonetheless, there's lots of people who have horrible childhoods and never end up committing the acts that the individual who's now under prosecution did. Can you claim insanity? Yes, but only if it can be demonstrated that you weren't able to appreciate the wrongness of your actions, which would mean you need a psychologist there to say this person has a dissociative personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, such that there was no way that they could understand what they were doing. There was no guilty mind, which is a requirement in our system of jurisprudence. There's the guilty act and the guilty mind. Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a good standard. It works. It fucks up, but overall, it's a good conception. That's my take.
Well, I mean, all systems have a tendency to fuck up in cases where there is an exceptional case. Of course. Yeah. That is the whole point. Like, the exception proves the rule, right? It's not going to ever be a perfect system. The reason why is because there is no system that it could account for the amount of random chance, randomness, random actions, and random outcomes that happen as a result of the inherent diversity in thought, upbringing, environment, genetics that humans are susceptible to. Like, because of that, you impose a standard, but it's always going to be imperfect. So you just do away with the standard wholesale because you're like, well, there's this 15-year-old that's super mature for his age, so we're just going to hold him responsible, because we can, because that is a justification we've made in this case, and we're going to do it for a different kid who's 27, who has never left his parents' house, who has never paid for anything in his fucking life, who still eats Cheerios with whole milk.
Hold on. Okay, why the whole milk? Why?
We have
because Polly, whole milk is nasty.
It's like pouring whipping cream, or
it's too thick and creamy.
I've been drinking.
What's wrong with Cheerios? That's not what we're laughing at. It was the whole milk that killed me.
Yeah, it was the whole milk comment, wasn't it? Because I paused and then I was like, with whole milk. Those bitches. Well, because as you mature, as you grow up, you wean yourself off of whole milk. You go from whole milk to 2% to 1% to skim like an adult.
Waiting for the reaction.
Nada.
Oh, fuck. You know what? Okay, I was talking about things on YouTube and as you move around and commentary channels and so forth. You know something I find interesting and in a never-ending entertaining way. I go all over to different spheres of YouTube where I don't expect to find anybody I know, and I always end up doing it. Like, I was watching a Sargon stream the other day, right?
Yeah.
And they're in chats pair to bear, and I'm like, holy fuck, I know him. Like, there's no other name that I recognize. I figure doesn't this happen to you? Don't you go to strange places and weird corners of the internet and then suddenly encounter people that you're like, hey, I know that person.
I thought I did yesterday when we were going over the whole female dating something. What was it called? Female. I'm a little bit.
Yeah.
Female dating strategy. There we go. I thought we had, because we were reading through the handbook for female dating strategy, that r/, and we made it to chapter 69. And I looked at who had authored it, and I'm like, Modern Medusa made this?
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that part of the
Yeah,
story.
and she was one of the co-hosts for Side Quest at one point, and I'm just like, this doesn't sound anything like Muttered Medusa. What's going on here?
Mhm.
I'm
You
confused.
fucking nuked my
But I
ass.
don't actually think it was her. At least I don't know, because I know her Instagram handle. I know her Twitter. I just don't know her Reddit handle is the thing, so I
It
have
was
no fucking clue.
say spaced out. Where was I? It was a Sargon of Akkad stream on Daily Akkad,
Oh,
if I
Mhm.
remember correctly. That was like a week ago or something. When I saw your name, I was just like, oh yeah. And somebody who was hanging out in the Noir Bar last night, the last time I saw them, I forgot what was their name. It's gonna sound funny. It was really memorable, but I can't remember it right now. Over on a gun stream that a reloading channel that I watch, like real gun nerd shit, where it's, only if you're deeply into reloading ammunition would you have ever found your way to this channel. And the person was doing a live stream and talking about the new 6.5 millimeter bullets that Hornady's come out with in their ELD line. And it's like really, like I said, really gun nerd shit. And all of a sudden, bang, there's somebody that was at Noir Bar. And I'm like, what the hell? Like,
So
it-
what you're saying is, Polly, you've discovered that others can have more than one interest
You mean lower
in
them?
like things.
yeah. And then sometimes you find out it's like, why is it I can't get away from this person? Like Low Res Boy, if anyone recognizes that person's name. No matter where I go online, there's Low Res Boy. It's weird. I go to like comic streams, he's there. I go to like, he's there at Noir Bar. He's there at Comic Book Curation. It's like everywhere I go there he is.
So you have a stalker. That's what you're telling me.
Well, or I'm stalking him.
Uh-huh. Maybe you guys just have similar interests. You ever tried talking to him?
I've pointed it out. I'm like, oh shit, there's Low Res Boy, my shadow, my cyber shadow.
Yeah, no, I here's the thing. Even if you, because I use a number of different aliases, like on Reddit, I have 2 accounts, the main Weebo account for advertising purposes, and then the separate incognito account.
Right.
Which I'm not going to tell you guys what the name of it is because it's incognito for a reason.
Right.
And I have a few burner emails too, just specifically for the purposes of browsing the internet without muddying both my name and my online persona. In the event that I do something truly egregious, like, I don't know, diss Black Twitter. I also have some burner Twitter accounts too, specifically to surveillance the people that have blocked me. If they say anything truly spicy, if I need to quick shoot over there and be like, all right, what are they saying? Oh, that's silly. For instance, a good example of this would be Blair White, who has blocked me for the last 3 years now for a silly reason.
Well, they're out of fire.
A silly reason.
Did you see Eve's Blair White phone case last night? Did you notice that?
No.
First time I saw it, when she picked up her phone and near the end of the stream, and then she was just kind of like sitting there holding her phone. And I'm like, oh my God, she's got a Blair White phone case.
Well, I know she's a fan of Blair White.
I don't know where the
Is
other-
Oh yeah, absolutely she is. And I was talking to Pop Tart, who's in chat. Hey, Pop Tart.
You guys
Hi.
The other day in voice chat, and apparently Blair White has managed to get herself in more
Hot water? Oh, yes, I heard about this.
right. And I hadn't, because I don't follow these things, right? And I'm like, but I am hearing that she's forever getting herself in hot water. And I'm like, what did she do this time? And Pop Tart explained it, and I'm like, okay, I understand. That's Jesus, it never stops. It never stops.
Well, okay, if I may, and this is about to get a little bit in that territory of hand slappetry.
As long as we don't turn into a bitchy commentary channel beefing with other channels.
I would never.
Okay.
It would be very easy for Blair White to maintain a high caliber social standing on the internet, one that isn't marred with allegations of dishonesty, of blocketry, of shady practices. Chief among those, the fact that she either intentionally or lazily disregarded information about a person in order to construct a narrative, which is just as bad as what it is that we get on certain mainstream media news channels. It would be very easy for her to maintain a high caliber social standing if she refrained from making those mistakes again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not that hard. Well, okay, yes, it is more effortful. It is more demanding to check your sources to make sure that you are not eating crow at the end of your video, to make sure that you are not blatantly lying about people in order to construct a false narrative about them. It's a little bit more demanding, but you know what? At the end of the day, it saves you from having to make that apology video or tweet or taking down a video completely and just weathering the onslaught of criticism. It saves you from that, which is infinitely more tiresome than the initial research that you could have done before putting out the video.
Oh my God.
I know, super bitchy, right? Oh my God. Food for thought.
Just
Here's some
reacting
advice.
to your boyfriend in the background there.
I just looked and I saw our boat fucking yeet.
Let's just listen in your boyfriend and riff off of what he's saying and finish his sentences comically.
We should just riff off of my boyfriend and finish his sentences.
There's one hole.
He's on a boat and there's one hole. You know what that means?
Mm.
They have to take turns.
I have a video of it happening.
That worked perfectly. But yeah, the hot water that she has recently got herself into could have been easily avoided. Had she, yeah. Upside down highlight. Weebo's boyfriend is like the third host, and I'm here for it. I guess. Does that mean I have to pay him?
No.
No? Okay. I won't.
Did you take a row?
Yes, exactly, Lenny Stanfield. Do it right the first time, and you don't have to do it again. Words to live by. Thank you very much. Same thing with buy it decent the first time, so you don't have to buy it again and again and again and again and again. Like, buy high quality shit. That I'm not a big fan of repeating actions. Isn't that the definition of insanity? Is repeating actions, expecting a different outcome?
According to Einstein, what the fuck did he know?
A little bit, just a little bit.
He couldn't do basic arithmetic. Actually, as I understand it, that's apocryphal anyway. But yeah, Hey, he was wrong about quantum mechanics.
People are allowed to be wrong, Polly. For instance, everyone who likes whole milk, they're allowed to be wrong about that.
And, hey, you guys got
Well, sometimes the recipe calls for it, and there's no getting around it. Okay.
You can use
If
heavy
the recipe-
whipping cream.
Hold on now. If the recipe says butter and you put in margarine, your shit could be fucked up.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
In baking, I agree with you. But in cereal, I really think the way to go is not whole milk.
Wait, you put skim on it? Like, do you actually do that, or are you gonna like?
I've done that before.
I have, but I was like out of options.
You really don't like skim milk, do you? I put ice in my skim milk, not just to make it more watery, but also to keep it cold.
No, we agreed on this last night.
Well, yeah, I know, but
ice and milk is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. But like, what I'm getting at here is it's still not watery. I also do that with apple juice and all manner of other juices too, is where I water them down. So
yeah, I do that with, most of the juices I drink are tart, orange juice, cranberry juice, etc. Right, lemonade, and yeah, I like it. I like them watered down because, for example, pink lemonade and lemonade, I add lemon juice to them because they're not sour enough for me, and so I'm okay if they're watered down. I'm not after the sweetness.
Yeah.
Park here.
Well, the problem with juices is that they are just like pure sugar, but the water on its own, unless it's from like a very specific well in the Midwest of the United States, tastes nasty to me. So I need to like spice it up with some sort of flavoring, and those little flavor squeezer things don't do it for me. So I put ice cubes in my orange juice, wait for it to melt, and then I'm like, oh, watered down orange juice or something. You know, it's proportionate and it's less sugar, but there's more to it. And I'm still going to get just as filled up if I drink the same quantity of water or orange juice as I'm drinking of water and orange juice. So it's fine. Neat little weight loss tip for y'all. If you're craving that sugar. If you're craving that sugar shit. Thank you to Lanny Stanfield, who donated to say, why would you put milk in monkey soup? Okay. All right. Hang on. Pause. Because you can put milk in a soup. For instance, a lot of pureed veggie soups, specifically squash, do call for milk inclusion or some sort of dairy inclusion. Similarly, a lot of creamy concoctions that are soupy in nature do call for milk. So it is not unheard of to put milk in a soup.
And it was a 2-man vote, by the way.
And that is my 2 cents. My charisma just dropped by 2% because of this whole debacle. Wow. Apparently, people feel very strongly about their juices and or milks. Sorry. If you wanted watered down milk, just use powdered milk. But it's not actual milk, though. It's
That's a good question.
Powdered milk ain't actual milk?
not really. I don't feel like it counts.
You know what? I don't care what anyone says. I like dehydrated potatoes.
Those are a thing?
Yeah. Okay, somebody just called you bougie ass Weebo. Cynic, and I agree. Bougie ass Weebo. Didn't even know there was dehydrated potatoes.
Because I don't know that there are hydrated potatoes that makes me bougie?
Yeah, that's your upper middle class prissy ass ways that you're not aware of.
No.
These
You mistaken. You are mistaken.
No, they're like
What makes me bougie ass is the fact that I have not one but two pairs of boots that are easily worth like a third of my paycheck.
Yeah, it's pretty bougie. Well, I don't know. It's
but what makes it extra bougie is that I didn't actually buy them; they were gifted to me. That's
dehydrated potatoes. You buy them in like a big old bag or can back in the day, like in the 40s. I mean, back in the day, they look like little flakes, and you add water to them, and when you're done, it's whipped potatoes. And I don't like mashed potatoes because I don't like biting into a large chunk of unmashed potato. I'm a texture guy, so whipped potatoes. I'm a huge fan, man. Delicious. Yeah. And so the a little bit of butter, touch of salt, oh, fantastic, or gravy, fuck yeah. And so if you use dehydrated potatoes, you get instant whipped potatoes, and you don't have to go through all the effort. I'm a fan. I don't care what anyone says. Same reason I like grits.
Come out of the bags?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I thought you meant like whole ass.
You mean like a potato that had been shrunk down to the size of a marble?
I thought that's what you meant.
God damn it, Weebo.
That was where my mind went to. I was just like, whole ass fucking potatoes. They have those? What? No, you're talking about bagged mashed potatoes. Oh, fuck, I love that shit. Holy. Oh, gosh, that's embarrassing.
The cynical Lindsay just called them wet drywall paste.
I used dehydrated potatoes to make Thanksgiving dinner one year. All right, It wasn't bad.
They're not bad at all.
For the people.
Maybe it's your brand, Lindsay. Like it's not because they're okay. I can imagine if you're eating some like World War II dehydrated potatoes, they would be good. But okay, that was good.
Oh God! Wow, that was a total blonde moment there. Right there. Mm-hmm.
You went with your mental image and didn't look back. Gotcha.
I was so confused. I was like, wait, hang on. These are a thing. Where in Walmart am I finding dehydrated whole ass potatoes? Because I thought potatoes were just fine on their own. I mean, like I have a whole bag of potatoes sitting on top of the fridge right now, waiting for me to turn them into something glorious. Because anything with potatoes can't go wrong.
Why did this prove I was secretly an otter, Lindsay? I don't understand. What just like, what's that noise over there? Oh, I'm just eating raw shellfish. Like, I can understand how that might prove it, but all right. The instructions on the box make them less watery. Less water, more milk and butter. Yeah. No, there you go. And if you, by the way, if you're into whipped potatoes at all and you've never had grits in your life, you're in for a treat. You should give them a shot. Do you know of the grits, Weebo?
You mean like biscuits and... Oh, wait, grits as in...
Ground up corn, basically. It's like corn paste.
Hang on. I feel like, yes, I have. I just have to see a picture of it, you know? From a visual woman. No, not gritty. Grits. Is it with two T's?
What?
I guess, yeah. Okay, yeah, this looks familiar to me.
Yeah, no one just called it mashed corn. It's a good description. Yeah.
I like corn. I like corn as much as the next person.
Oh, right.
Have we talked about the fact that most cornbread does not have corn in it?
Wait, what?
Cornbread does not actually have like whole kernel corn in it.
Well, yeah, it's made out of cornmeal.
Yeah, but I also feel like you should have gone that extra mile to put corn in the cornbread.
That's like saying you need whole pieces of wheat seed in your bread.
No, it's not. You're lying.
A reluctant admission. What? Okay.
But like, I think that putting whole kernel corn in cornbread makes it fantastic. That's like the missing ingredient.
See, being a texture guy, the last thing I want to do is bite into a warm, fresh out of the oven cornmeal muffin and bite into a sweet piece of corn. Gross.
Well, the reason why I think this is necessary is one, because it tastes good. All right. Have you ever tried it? First off?
I had to hold off my blender bombs attack.
Hold on with the snappy fingers over there. In the famous words of Jules, I haven't tried sewer rat either, and it may taste like pumpkin pie, but that doesn't mean I'm going to eat the filthy motherfucker.
So you're a bigot. Okay, but like the other thing that whole kernel corn in cornbread does is make it moist enough that it doesn't fucking crumble in your hands like you just Thanos the bitch right out the oven.
Right.
All right, because I hate that. I hate it when the cornbread comes apart in your grubby mitts. It's not a good time. It's annoying. It makes for a less than stellar dining experience for me. And so that's why we add corn to our cornbread.
To stop it from falling apart.
Yeah. It acts as an emulsifier.
That's not what an emulsifier is, but that's okay.
What's an emulsifier, Polly? I'm about to prove you wrong.
I should have just let it go. It doesn't.
Emulsifier, a substance that stabilizes an emulsion, in particular a food additive used to stabilize processed foods. An apparatus used for making an emulsion by stirring and shaking a substance. Now, what is...
Just hold on for a second. Okay, imagine you've got like a fruit juice, right? Like natural orange juice. It'll separate up where the watery part will end up at the top and the pulpy dissolved solids will end up at the bottom. An emulsifier will keep it blended.
Yes.
That's okay. What you're talking about like adding egg to something to make it all stick together. That's not an emulsifier.
Damn, I haven't been using that word wrong for my whole life then.
You just described bread as an emulsion. I can't say you're correct.
In culinary arts, an emulsion is a mixture of two liquids that would ordinarily not mix together, like oil or vinegar. And example,
liquid bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on. When you initially mix the batter, is it not moist? Mate, Polydub.
Yeah, Ryan Walters, egg is a binding agent. That's what you're thinking.
Okay, there we go. Let's talk about something else. I don't want to talk about my weird food habits anymore.
I'm gonna write. I'm currently writing 2 truths and a lie things for the next noir bar. I'm gonna do a Weebo Jones 2 truths and a lie. Weebo claimed that, and we.
I hate everything. I don't like it. Let's talk about how cringy anime is.
Would you like to play 2 truths and a lie?
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Let's talk about how cringy anime is. Yeah, let's alienate like 3/4 of every internet audience. Let's do
it. Yeah. That being said, I have been buried in Inuyasha for the last 24 hours straight. Nonstop.
But that's not possible.
Why?
24 hours ago, you were speaking to Chaos Eve, and 20 hours ago, we were watching Halloween.
Okay, you don't have to take me seriously, Polly.
I didn't mean literally. I meant figuratively, literally.
You don't have to take me... Oh, what's a word that means literally that isn't literally? Let's look. I need to find an alternative. Literally. Verbatim. To the letter, precisely, exactly, faithfully, closely, strictly, accurately, rigorously.
Hey, Jerry,
Literatim. Literatum? Yeah, you don't have to take me verbatim, Polly.
Well, you can only take words verbatim, not...
What comes out of my face hole, Polly?
Lies!
Not
lies!
Words! Okay, so 2 truths and a lie. Is that what we're playing right now?
What? Did your volume just drop, or did
I moved away from the
okay. Wow.
microwave. That's the difference.
Hey, guys.
So, 2 truths and a lie. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to concoct something out of thin air for this game?
Either or. I can't concoct these out of thin air. I write them out in MS Word. Because they're not like the personal, like I have, you know, blah, blah. I mean, you could do that, I guess, like personal background stuff. I mean, that's the origin of 2 truths and a lie, but I think that's the less interesting one because we're not playing, let's get to know each other with drinks. Like,
we know each other.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, what, you know.
So then, like, how would we play?
Well, 2 truths and a lie, like internet style, as I stole it from Drunkle. I think it was Drunkle. I steal so much from him.
It's okay. I'm sure he doesn't mind.
Oh, no, he minds.
I'm sure he can't do anything about it. I
told him about the next game I'm going to play. I said, that was a really good game that we were playing. I'm going to use that over my channel. He's like, you are? Said, yeah, it's an homage. It's called theft, Polly. It's oh, he minds.
Polly, how dare you? I'm sure he doesn't mind seriously, because like you get a lot of characters on the internet that mind greatly.
Yeah.
And this is in the least generous interpretation of this. Because you get a lot of people who manufacture drama. For instance, all of the shit that went down between Keemstar, H3H3, and like what's his fucking face? Leafy is here. Totally manufactured, let's be honest. But then you get people that do it to a lesser extent where they get fictitiously outraged. Like I do this a lot. I get verbose and obnoxious in my reactions to some things that people say online. And I do it for the laugh. I overplay it. Because I don't know, people find it entertaining, and that's fine. They know it's a joke because I'm so over the top with my reaction.
It's like
It's fine.
sloppy ham. You know how when it gets all greasy.
I don't know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I was curious where you're going myself.
I have no fucking clue. I lost my train of thought.
Okay. All right, let's.
And I'm out of here.
Well, I'll give you Jesus. You got an empty bottle box back there that you just throw shit in?
The game room trash is basically just recycling
Oh, okay.
for bottles.
So the answer is yes. Okay.
This is not just the game room; it is our sanctuary.
And I saw that you had the bougie garbage bags, the fancy one that are with the structured cross hatching in them for added strength.
Because we need it, obviously.
Well, yeah. I can't afford those, man. I buy the Walmart brand.
Some things you need to splurge on because of your lifestyle.
Weebo needs to splurge on garbage.
I have some fancy ass garbage. That's why.
Right. Okay.
Weebo's got the bougie garbage bags with the cross stitching. I actually didn't know there was a difference. I just grabbed what I could find at Jewel. I was like, this is going in the cart on the way to the house.
What's going on? I lost the plot.
We were talking about my bougie garbage bags.
Oh, okay.
Before that, we were talking about how you totally stole all of Drunkle's ideas.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. Because there's the things like there's like the core idea. And we were talking about that. I forget what the. I forget the name.
Oh, that's where I was going. Okay, sorry. Continue.
Yeah. He had like he calls it like Blue Vegas or whatever over on Lou Bega or whatever over on his channel. But it's the $25,000 pyramid. The game is based upon the game show $25,000 pyramid. Where here's 5 things and I can describe them, but I can't say the name of the thing itself. So if I was describing New York, like that's the word that I get. I would be like industrial, grimy, overrated, East Coast, full of filth. Port City.
Ooh, we could do it.
Cuomo ruled. Like, and I can't say New York, but and the idea is to tip
basically
you off.
Trades, but with words.
Yeah, and you have a limited amount of time and you get 5 of them to go through it. Like, yeah, it's $25,000 pyramid. That's the basis of that game. Or Password, I think, if I remember from that old-timey game show channel I used to watch when I was really, really bored.
I do not know.
B Junkie says, on a scale of 1 to 10, Polly, how much do you regret doing more than one AAA? Oh my god.
You regret it?
It's not so much regret as it is lament and rue.
Wow, those are some big boy words for how you're feeling. Show me on the doll where they touched you.
If you go into AAA stream and all 3 of them are there, like Sinatra, Drunkle, Gaslight, it is going into what I call a verbal mosh pit. Get ready, man. Get your sharp elbows out, brother, because it's going to be a fight. Like to get a word in edgewise. So you either choose to fall silent or get verbally aggressive, because they are very, very good at what they do. I'm not trying to blow sunshine at them, but they are very, very good at the bants and the talk and the rapid fire microphone control. So it's like, if you're going in there, know what the fuck you're getting into. When I get off of a AAA stream, I'm like, I want silence. So it's a hell of a ride. Don't get me wrong. So I don't regret it at all. No.
Yeah.
But it is a rough fucking big ride, man.
I think I've been on an episode of a AAA, if not 2. And I think I remember that I could keep up pretty well. But that's because I have a very banty personality to start with. Yeah.
Well, I think this stream cocktail hour would have fallen the fuck apart if we couldn't do bands. Because I mean, I don't think either of us have ever showed up with subject matter. I
didn't. Except for the question that I posed philosophically, but I didn't think to ask it until I don't know, 15 minutes in. I'm like, hey Polly, I just thought to ask you this thing that I was pondering last night as I was staying up, just trying to fall asleep. Yeah. I don't actually bring subject material to the table, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. I don't need to. It's fun when I do, because if I do, it's some good shit. Like last night with the stream, This is some good shit.
All right, so 2 truths and a lie.
All right. Me?
Or I
you?
can go first with the ones that I've pre-written.
All right, you can do yours first, just so I have an idea of what exactly it is that we're supposed to be doing. Because
Some of these are recycled because I don't think most of the people here were there for Noir Bar where I did these first with Far.
yeah.
Okay, for example. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
2 of these, 3 statements regarding Captain Kirk. 2 of them are true. 1 of them is false.
Okay.
You ready?
Maybe.
Okay. Number 1, Captain Kirk stole the Starship Enterprise. Number 2, Captain Kirk claimed to be married to the Starship Enterprise. Number 3, Captain Kirk destroyed the Starship Enterprise.
Snake season.
Lion Patriot says most of us do sleep, Polly. Well, that's your problem, man. I would sleep more than I do if I could.
He never stole it. It was destroyed, and he did marry it. Yes.
So you
This is coming from someone who has no fucking clue about anything regarding Star Trek.
Like I was saying afar, that makes it the most fun in my opinion. Because it's just like, what
Okay.
I vaguely know of it, because otherwise it's just trivia. You know what I mean? So you
should I
think
give you my reasonings for why I think that?
Yeah, actually, I would like to hear your reasoning for this.
Okay. All right. So, he was captain of a thing at one point. I know that, and I'm pretty sure it was Starship Enterprise. So I don't know why you would steal it if you're captain of it.
Right.
Technically, doesn't that make it yours? The marriage one sounds just wonky enough to be legit, and the destroyed one sounds like it could have happened because it's Star Trek.
I've seriously only found 1 gunpowder barrel.
Fair enough.
So, am I correct or no?
Give me your lunch money, nerd. Fuck off. Quill claimed it as true, false, true. So false would have been Captain Kirk claimed to be married to the Starship Enterprise. Lion Patriot says they're all true. Actually, number 2 is false. Captain Kirk claimed to be married to the Starship Enterprise. He did, in fact, steal it in Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock.
Woof.
He and remnants of his bridge crew, and plus Scotty, stole the Enterprise because it had been decommissioned, and they needed a ship to go to the Genesis planet, and so they needed a ship, so they stole the fucking Enterprise. They hijacked it literally on a space dock. And in the very same movie, he ordered its destruction because it had been there were a bunch of Klingons on board. He used it as a trap and ordered its destruction and blew it up with a bunch of Klingons on board, which was shocking.
Yeah.
Captain Kirk claimed to be married to the Starship Enterprise. No, he did not. Although at one point he did describe it as the lady in his life, but he never claimed to be married to it.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Men in their toys.
Well, it's not a toy. It's a ship.
Oh,
It's different.
A man would say that.
Thank you for the next 6 minutes for the donation. Quote, in all seriousness, Polly is criminally undersubbed. It's very true. This man has earned a tremendous respect over years as a great content creator and streamer. Again, very true. He's also a damn great guy who helped me work through some major fails. Sincerest thanks, Polydub. Oh man, 6. It was good. You're an awesome guy. That's
He is a good boy.
He is a good one. It's no thing, man. I appreciate that.
Sure.
We love to see it.
So I mean, they're all over the place. And Far said I don't recall this one. Yes, some of them are recycled, some of them are not. That's a newer one that I wrote. Okay, Weebs, did you watch the debate the other night, the last presidential debate?
I did not, but I saw little clips of it. For instance, the coyote clip.
The coyote, you Midwesterner.
How the fuck am I supposed to say it? Coyote.
Yeah. No, I get
Fuck
lots
off
of
my
people.
back, Polly.
People, I get it. People pronounce it differently. It just always like jars me when I hear people say coyote because it's like, go on.
What bumhick town are you from? I, the intellectual, say it, coyote.
Weebo should be far more subbed. I agree. We got to push her over 10 grand. Am I right? This is like, what the fuck?
I'd appreciate it. But honestly, if I don't ever make it above 10K, that's okay too.
There
I
you
like
go.
to keep things small. You know how nightmarish it would be if I were to reach sheer like Pokemon levels of fame? I don't think I could handle it.
Oh God.
Because I get so easily annoyed. And if I have a constant barrage of simps at my beck and call, I'm going to have an aneurysm. I will yell at the people. I will self-sabotage in order to get those numbers down. I will put out the most divisive of content in an effort to, push the people away. It'd be a bad time. I mean, it'll be fun, but also bad.
Fun but bad.
Fun but bad. Which can happen. Brian Walters wants me to say peyote. Peyote?
Oh, nice.
How am I supposed to say that word?
You want to talk about peyote? What?
No, he wants me to say the word peyote.
What about?
Yeah, cynical Lindsay. I'd be freaked out. I'm a very private person and I fear getting stalkers. Been there, done that, don't want to go back. I like it when my life is less than eventful. I like it when my Twitter stalkers go silent for months on end. It makes me wonder if they're dead, certainly, but also it gives me peace and quiet for a fucking hot second. So can we just not have me be super famous? Thank you. I like attention, but not that much.
You have to start, I mean, don't get me wrong, you have to start playing really odd games at that level of notoriety, that level of fame. You know, you get on some, what's her name?
Pokemon?
Well, no, I'm thinking of Pokemon, yeah, but no, the other one. Fuck, I'm bad with coming up with names sometimes.
Well, okay, if you've seen one Twitch thought, you've seen them all. They all just kind of start to blend together. We get it. Your thought.
Well, the point that I'm driving at with them is that you have to hire managers to promote you, and you are promoted. People get a hold of your contacts, get a hold of their contacts in publications. You don't reach that level of notoriety without people writing articles online about you and talking about you, and newspapers writing about you, and bloggers talking about you. And the way that all of that happens is this intertwined network of confluence of interest, to give it a name. Like Pokemon, if you just search for her online, you'll find all kinds of articles about her and stuff like that. Like somebody can't go to that level of that amount of subscribers and that amount of viewers, like over on Twitch, not just YouTube, without outside promotion. That doesn't happen through organic virility.
You mean that she is fake as fuck?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. What is the idiot's name? I can't remember, because I think she's the best example. Is she formerly a he? Thinks of him, her, they, self as a philosopher because they took some philosophy classes in undergrad. Only puts out one fucking video a month, but nobody shuts the fuck up about it simply because they're endlessly promoted by YouTube and everything else because they hooked up with a fucking management agency. What the fuck?
She, formerly he. Are you just some
ContraPoints? Thank you, Fall.
I was like, Riley J. Dennis?
God, I hate that fucking feeling when you got a name on the tip of your brain and you just can't think of it. It's just, oh, fuck me, man. Yeah, ContraPoints. Think about it. ContraPoints had a whole bunch of articles that came out in the same week about her across a breadth of different publications, calling her the most rational person on YouTube, and they all use that phrase. No. A PR group sat down and concocted this whole fucking thing. What are the odds? Take a look at their they, them, Zer's Social Blade for a second. You see an incredible fucking spike out of nowhere. And it didn't happen through organic means, like any channel content creator that you like, where they're just producing content and they slowly rise over time and more people are talking about it. It has all of the earmarks of inorganic growth.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on ContraPoints. I have yet to see an actual video of ContraPoints.
A what?
A video?
Oh, a video. Okay.
I have yet to see a video of ContraPoints. And I don't think I'm missing out on much necessarily. From what I have encountered regarding ContraPoints thus far on the internet, I'm probably not going to like her.
Well, no, Cynical Lindsay describing her simply said a leftist bread tuber. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Yeah, here is the rationalizations for all of my far left opinions. This is why freedom of speech, or as she calls it, freeze peach. Ha! Hilarious.
Freeze peach.
Yeah, like as in a frozen peach. It's an attempt at mocking everybody who says, yeah, but freedom of speech. You shouldn't be able to censor people for hate speech and so on. Trying to do the thing, like holy book, constitution, whatever. It was a bread tuber thing that she was a big fan of. Anyway, just like, here's why freeze peach isn't as...
Oh, that's so cringy.
It is.
Hang on, backtrack. Freeze peach. It's their attempt to make fun of the concept of free speech. Like,
mockable.
Okay.
Yeah.
First off, it is due to the fact that you have free speech that you can mock the existence of it. First off, but second off, that's just so stupid.
Yeah.
Not like stupid as in,
and we still live.
Like ignorant stupid. It's just, why? What's the point? What the fuck? It's not even decent mockery.
She didn't even do. I watched her several videos, two of them particularly on why open free speech isn't a good idea and why hate speech is a real thing, and her attempt to rationalize it. And I found them not only not convincing but not persuasive at all.
Well, no
it's
shit.
like I'm. The idea of being a free speech absolutist is tempting, but it can be dismantled fairly quickly. I was persuaded to not be a free speech absolutist. There's certain kinds of speech that should be prohibited and criminally sanctionable. Yeah.
Like,
two people are sitting down and planning a bank robbery.
That is conspiracy to commit robbery.
Yeah. But no, hold on. It's just speech. If you're an absolutist, there is no limitation. It means just that. People overspeak principles a lot of times, I think, or I've noticed. That they would say, no, guns are purely evil. They're just murder tools. So police officers are murderers with badges. Well, that's different. So you overspoke your point thinking that you were going to convince people and you just fucked up. That sort of thing. It's like, I'm a free speech absolutist. So you don't think anybody should be able to be charged with criminal conspiracy then? It's like, well, no, that's different. No, it's not different. It falls within the category of what you claim. Don't overspeak. I'm not an absolutist when it comes to free speech. There's a lot specific calls to action, particular credible calls to action should be criminally sanctionable. Yes. Mm-hmm. Saying that I hate white people should not be criminally sanctionable. Otherwise, half of Twitter would have to be arrested.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? Since we're going all out, thank you the next 6 minutes for the donation over on the Streamlab. There are few content creators that deserve 10,000 subs. Few work as hard as Weebo Jones or put as much passion into what they do on YouTube. I have learned much from her over the years, and I can say honestly, my stuff is better because of it. Thanks, Weebs. Oh, warmed my cold dead heart. Because, oof. I feel a little bit bad though because I haven't put out a video. I'm working on the Halloween special. Pinky swear, promise.
Nice.
It's coming out, but I do feel bad accepting such a high praise in terms of compliment because I haven't put out a video since my last video, which was the Kyle Rittenhouse video, which has garnered me a lot of criticism, which I'm okay with because I do like pushback. I like not being agreed with all of the time. It makes life more interesting. Don't you agree, Polly?
Yes. Mm-hmm. As long as the pushback is, I'm talking
logical.
about well, not even that, just reasonable. Like, meaning you're pushing back on the point, not on me. Who are you to say that? Well, who the fuck do I have to be? If you want to talk about the policy or the issue or the subject, cool. You want to talk about me? Not interested.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? You're an asshole.
Yeah,
You're a
no, I
moron.
get
You're this. You're that.
You
Like,
can't talk about X, Y, or Z because you are the wrong type of person to ask said questions about the thing. Well,
Yeah. That kind of disagreement. Get fucked. Not interested.
get over yourself.
So my all the way back to the beginning. Yeah, I apologize for the tangential thing there. Say, I don't want to be that big. There's things that come along with that. I wouldn't worry about it. There is no such thing as organic growth to that place anymore. If you know what I mean, like to Pokemon levels, you have to be promoted like fuck. But
I would never. I can't. I could not.
You know what a general management fee is? 30%, 20 to 30%. Plus an agency, which is not the same as your management. And an agent fee is somewhere between 10 and 20%. And then you're paying taxes after that.
So what are you actually making then?
Yeah, I'm not saying Pokemon isn't rich. Like Pokemon is rich. ContraPoints is rich, like compared to a lot of people on YouTube. I'm just saying contextualize it, y'all. You know what I mean? Realize the fees and expenses involved in doing what they do. That's all. It's, oh, well, this person's pulling in, let's say, I don't know, $6,000 a month on Patreon or Subscribestar. Okay. But how did they get there? Where do they live? What are their taxes like? I hear people almost feeling bad over it, where it's like, look how well this person is doing. Maybe I should shift my opinions and say things that people are going to find acceptable just to, be famous in this way. And it's like, okay, well, hold on. Contextualize that and then ask yourself if it's worth it.
Should I switch my opinions in order to get more money? Talk about lacking in principles, though, right?
Oh, yeah. I hear there.
To me, personally, there's no amount of $ that could make me do certain things. Like, for instance, I could never kill a person for any amount of money. No matter what you offered me, I could not do it because I feel
You mean
so
unjustifiably?
Well, unjustifiably. We're talking about exchanging money for the service of killing an individual.
Gotcha.
Contract kill. There is no amount of money anyone could offer me to kill another human being. And in this scenario, it's purely, non-personal. Like, it would be a purely non-personal interaction. The person that I would be hypothetically asked to off, they wouldn't be attacking me in any capacity. It would strictly be just like to set the scene, strictly a contract kill. But I could not do it because I hold life to such a high value, because there is no amount of money that you can trade for to get someone to bring them back to life. Does that make sense? At the present moment, there is no amount of cash value that can undo the act of killing another person.
Have you ever seen Grosse Pointe Blank, the movie?
No.
John Cusack plays a contract killer in that film, and it's a dark comedy. When his ex-girlfriend that he's rekindling a love affair with finds out that he's a contract killer, he attempts to justify himself in like this panicked mode because she's like absolutely shocked and aghast that he's this, low of a person. He's willing to do this stuff, kill for money. And so he goes into these panicked descriptions of why it's okay or why it makes sense what he does. He's like, look, everybody does it. Sometimes governments do it. I mean, sometimes they call the cops, and then sometimes they call people like me. I mean, it's not indiscriminate. I don't shoot people like riot cops do. I go, okay, wait a minute. And she goes, you're crazy. He goes, no. Crazy people kill for no reason. I kill for money. Wait, that sounded bad. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, it does sound bad.
And then I love this one line he says. He goes, think about it. If I showed up at your door, chances are you did something to bring me there. I mean, you should read the files on some of these fuckers. It reads like a demon's resume. And it just came to mind when you It was a really, really well written scene.
I would totally watch it. What movie was that again?
Gross Point Blank.
Gross Point
Fa-
Blank.
Fantastic, outstanding movie. Inquisitor and I have talked about it at length. Different scenes, different things we liked, underlying meaning, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just, yeah.
All right. It'd be one of those things that I put on my movie list. Oh, there it is. I gotta find my sticky note tab thing. You know what I'm talking about.
So let me ask you a question. I just saw
Hey,
your fancy jet fighter chair there.
Yeah.
You
like it?
Yeah. So when you were living broke and poor and you were sitting in an office chair like I am, and then you got your fancy jet fighter NASA chair there.
Yeah.
Is it really that different? Like, I'm sure it's a great chair, but is it really that much different? I'm curious. I've never even sat in a gaming chair.
So it comes with the ability to do this. Woo! Hi.
Hey, that's kind of cool.
So I can go all the way back, which is I wasn't going all the way back yesterday when we were watching the movie, but I was like leaning back here, and it comes with a pillow, and it comes with, you know, it is a standard office chair in all of those respects, but it also comes with lumbar support, which I really like. And it comes with, you know, it has shape.
Okay.
And it's comfortable.
So did you notice when you were sitting in it for hours, it ended up being like a better long-term sitting chair? Like,
oh yeah. Oh yeah. The chair that I was sitting on before this was actually just a chair, no office amenities to it. There was no lean back function. There was no swiveliness. It was just a chair, and I hated it. I hated sitting in it for long periods of time. The chair before that, it was good for about 2 hours, and then I'd start to feel like my butt was falling asleep. But this, I haven't had problems with it yet. And yesterday was like the stress test, because I did the stream and then we did the movie thing after I sobered up, of course. And it wasn't bad. It was not a bad time. I did not have anything to complain about. And it's, like I said, super comfortable. And it looks cool. Is the other thing. Super important. You still there, Polly? Oh no, did he die? Are we still here, kiddos? He just muted himself, so I wonder what is going on. So, chat. Does anyone else indulge in the gaming chair shenanigans? It's not sponsored. The stream is not sponsored by G Tracy. What? Yes, I know we have different brands of chair. They're literally the same chair, though.
That's better.
They're literally the same chair.
That's better.
They literally are the same chair, except they have a different word on the top. Just because you have Devoco doesn't make you better.
I mean, my boy just said, so they have different names means they're made by different manufacturers, thus they're different chairs.
I'm gonna have an aneurysm. Oh, uninspected phone call. Polly is answering the phone. I get those from time to time. Does anyone else get an annoying abundance of spam calls? Specifically, currently from politicians looking to solicit your vote. But in addition to that, something about car warranty, extended car warranty, which I don't actually own a car. Sure, I make payments, babe, but I don't actually own the car, so I don't have an extended warranty.
I don't know what we're going to do with this.
So, let's see. What does the chat have to say? Fat Platypus. I had a DX Racer for a few years. Now it's fantastic. Yeah, see? The gaming chairs are worth the investment. Race Jacobson says I need to get one because my current office chair is literal pain in the back. Yeah. If you are the type of person who's going to sit down in a room for long stretches of time, I would advise investing in a decent chair that doesn't hurt your back. That doesn't make you want to kill yourself. That doesn't make you prefer the floor. Because I've been there. I've been there.
Hurt your back, hurt
It's
your
a
back.
bad time. It's a bad time.
You're looking good.
Weebo Jones coming this summer. A new action heroine, Weebo Wig, starts Friday, rated R. I'm not in the business of killing people. I'm not. I could never be. Sorry. Weebo Jones, at least your boy toy has a spine. That's true. Oh, boyfriendo, at least you have a spine.
I was born with one, actually.
Yeah.
That was fine. Like, at least I have a smile. Thanks, I grew it myself.
I don't think that's what they mean. Cynic, I have... Wow, the chat just jumped. I have a mesh-backed office chair from IKEA because this place gets hoot. I'm one of the people that can proudly say that they've never bought furniture from IKEA, and I'm okay with that.
It's good for a day's work.
I spent all day in my chair. Same color, by the way. Yeah? You like the blue? I wanted to go with the blue instead of the red because it looked better in the picture, but it does not look the way that it looked in the picture. I expected a nice light blue, but I got
When was
this
that 5K? Oh,
dark
sure.
blue instead. So, I guess I'll just have to deal with it. It's fine. What else we got? No one. I get East Indians calling me from window technical department and try to get my iPad, whatnot, but that's it. Yeah, it happens quite often. When I was job searching, I got a lot of phone calls from companies that were based in Tennessee, from company CEOs who had a very thick, very fast Indian accent. I think I still have some of those emails. They did not stop calling me for months because I showed the barest hint of interest in their company in answering the phone one day. This was in the midst of panically searching for a job. Yeah, in the tech industry. And let me tell you, it was a pain in the ass to have to pick up the phone every single time that it rang because not half, all of those calls, minus like 3, were a complete waste of my time. Annoying as hell, let me tell you. Let me tell you. What the fuck is an IKEA? It is the gigantic ass furniture store here in the States. They sell Swedish furniture sometimes, not with all the parts, sometimes in foreign language with directions.
I think just
that face when your Swedish friend speaks Swedish and the IKEA furniture assembles itself. IKEA, assemble. What else we got? Daniel Fullman, Weebo, how is office life? Have you found your clique yet? I don't really believe in clicking up. Catch my drift. I just kind of mind my own business, get my job done and then go home at the end of the day. Because it's work. I don't know. I don't feel the need to click it up, Like I'll talk with the people. We'll have a nice verbal spar bants type session. We'll talk about Game of Thrones or whatever, but it doesn't get super personal, and that's because I'm not a super personal person. That's just me. What else we got here? Yeah, Race Jacobson, don't shit where you eat. Yeah, so I actively avoid the sensitive topics that...
My wiener is the wiener.
That would definitely get me into a world of shenanigans and drama. To some degree, it feels like there can be elements of more high school atmosphere, but I think we're doing good right now. Most of what we do is answer the phone, so I'm pretty busy. And I'm okay with that. I don't need to make friends at work. Daniel Fullman, Weebo, have you seen the British sitcom The IT Crowd? I have not. Is it a show about what I think it is? that being the IT crowd. I will say this. While I haven't actively been looking for a clique, the gravitation of people with my personality to the field that I'm in is very, very striking. I don't not get along with people. I get along with the people that I work with very well. Very well. Because we have very similar personalities and senses of humor. The only problem is I don't play Smash Bros with them at lunch.
It's ridiculous, honestly.
Which is fine. I don't mind not playing Smash. I'd rather get other shit done on my lunch break. Like, I'd rather go to the UPS store or go to the bank or go out to eat or stuff. You know, spend that me time with me. Weebo don't need no click. She has us. Exactly. See? I got you guys.
Start right off the bat doing whatever they want.
It's a good time. It's a good time. Super let me smash bros. Yeah, that's what they do every day on lunch sometimes. They go into one of the conference rooms with their Switches and they play Smash Bros. BG says, Weebo Jones, we all know that you prefer getting smashed by your boy toy. Ain't that the truth? What, babe?
I said they ain't wrong.
They ain't wrong. Update on the men of the MCU. So Polly and I have yet to have that conversation and record it, but trust that it'll get done before hopefully the new year, fingers crossed. There's one thing about Polydub and Weebo collabs is that they get done. It just takes them forever and a fucking day. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Reese Jacobson, I thought you were going to sneak into the washroom and smash. No. They don't smash each other. They just smash each other.
Who expects late night long distance calls from relatives? What the hell?
My grandma does that sometimes. She calls me during work, like right in the middle of work, and I can't answer it because I'm at work.
Why is my uncle even awake? What the fuck?
What time is it where he is?
Same time it is here, 10:30. But it's like, you know,
he's an adult. What's he doing awake at this hour? This is unreasonable.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, because he's one of them 6 a.m. wake up from oatmeal type guys. Like it.
Oh gosh, I hate being that type of person right now, but it is who I am at the moment. Do you think maybe he's just not one? It is a Saturday, so.
Well, yeah. He's staying up late, annoying me. And what did he want to know about? Photoshop.
Well, you would be the one to ask about that, wouldn't you?
What? And it's like, well, so yeah, I was just talking to some people. I gotta get going. And he's like, oh, hold on, I was getting this other question. So, what is a TIFF file? It's a really big graphic file that is way over your head. Is the short version. Don't worry about TIFF files. Was the answer? He's like, yeah, but what are they? Why are they so big? Why would I save this in TIFF? I was trying to explain to him, like this was like boomer education moment of he's like, if I have a JPEG and it's only like 10 megabytes and I save it as a TIFF file and it ends up being multiple orders of magnitude larger than that, is it upgraded it? And I'm trying to explain to him the concept of you can compress a file and lose data, but you can't upgrade a file and gain data. Where would it be coming from? It would be like, in the example that I gave, it would be like, you know, some shitty garage band that you made a 96 kilobyte per second MP3 recording of, and then saving it as a WAV file. You haven't gained data. It wasn't there to begin with in the file. Yes, you can save it in that, but all you've done is upgrade a 96 kilobyte per second MP3 into a much, much larger file. The quality of the audio is going to sound still just as shitty. So upgrading your JPEGs into TIFFs will eat up a lot of memory space, but it's like it's
not doing anything.
Yeah, it's not really doing anything.
There is no benefit to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And he's like, I don't get it. I mean, it's larger though. Doesn't that mean there's more data there? And I'm like,
Where is it coming from?
yeah. I'm like, it's a TIFF file, as
Are
nice
you
as it
just
would be. Is not
asking
a
it to fill a whole bunch of empty spaces with just zeros?
Yeah,
with
that's
no-
exactly what's happening. You know what I mean? It's creating a very high definition blur.
No.
And the answer is
Bet.
no. It's faster access, but the same data. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, there's lots of stuff that TIFF does other than file size. It's the metadata containers are also larger. They can be worked over by algorithms faster because they're not saved in the same way that bitmaps are. But it's just, again, that's unless you're working for somebody that you're not, it's not worth it. You know.
Yeah. So you would ideally not want to. You would want to save it as a TIFF file before you lessened it.
Yeah, exactly. If it's saved in a high quality format to begin with, there would be something to be gained by saving it as a TIFF if you were going to be going into image manipulation later. You know, he's actually pretty good with Photoshop, but getting there. But he's saw when save as, and then you drop down the drop down menu and all the options, and he started looking at them, and it's oh god.
Oh, here's another thing. All right, you go in and you're working on a program, and you think, hey, I'm gonna call this person that knows the answer to this thing instead of, hey, I'm gonna Google this thing. Is that a generational thing, do you think? Or is it just a thing that people who aren't tech savvy do?
You know what? I hear you. When it comes to certain things like that, what the hell is a TIFF file and what is it good for is a great thing to just simply search online. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Earlier today, I was doing something with Photoshop where it's how do I do custom curvature lines for text bases, where it's like I know how to draw a path that are in basic shapes, especially curves and ellipses and stuff. But what happens when you want to do a custom curve of a very particular shape for text to follow? So yeah, I looked it up online. That would be not because it's going to give you steps and short explanations. But when it comes to other things, no, I personally prefer to get an explanation from somebody that understands it, because then you're going to be able to ask follow-up questions. And there's nothing more obnoxious than bouncing around for 20 minutes from forum to forum to forum looking for the particular answer to the question you have.
Well, yeah, okay. So I guess it depends on the question that you're asking. The question is, how do I clear my browsing data? No.
Fucking amen. Yeah, when it's really straightforward procedural shit like that, absolutely. You should let me Google that for you. Yeah, exactly. Have you ever done that? Had somebody who's not tech savvy ask you a question and you just search up the answer online and it's Jesus Christ, this is internet search by proxy. Look at that face. Yeah. I don't know, but let's find out together.
It's gotten to the point where I don't have to Google as much anymore for my job. I know the answer right off the bat because most of the questions that I get asked are the exact same question from not from the exact same people, but it's the exact same question. Here's the kicker though. All right, this week, I had someone submit a ticket and they're like, this application isn't working for me. It's a web-based application. And they're trying to use it with a whole bunch of other users. And they're trying to teach these other users how to use this. And it's not working for half of the user base, and it's working for the other half. They're all using the same devices. They're all using the same web browser because that's the way that we programmed everything on the onset when we allocated all of the devices to everybody. So that leads me to believe that simply clearing the web browsing data would fix this issue that they're having, most likely. And to make this really painless, week 3 of my job, maybe week 2, I had some time to kill. And so I made a really, really easy to follow handout, like idiot proof handout with 12 steps on how to clear your browsing data with pictures, and it's got the little circle-y things that show you exactly where it is that you're supposed to push the thing or submit the thing. It's got arrows. It's got even verbiage at the bottom that says step 1, step 2. This is what you do. This is what you're looking for. It's so very idiot proof. I send this off to the user who is teaching the rest of the users how to do this thing. She gets back to me. She goes, I won't be there to walk them through this process to get them to do this. So I don't think that they're going to be able to do this. Also, side note, like, here's your big brain, and then let me just prove how much of a big brain I truly am. Side note, what would clearing the browsing data really do? Like, am I wasting my time? Why should I bother actually sending this handout to all of my people that I am in charge of?
Mm-hmm.
Why should I do that? And I'm just like, you want me to explain the fundamentals of why you should clear your browsing data. That is something that you can Google. But probably a lot of people don't know that they can Google it. The solution to the problem that she was having, definitely something that might not come up in a Google search, because perhaps not everyone's heard of that problem before or had that problem before. It's very specific. It can be. But just the sheer disregard of, well, I'm not going to do that, or I can't do that. It didn't work for me, so why would it work for everybody else? And I'm like, because everyone's browsing experience is unique to them. That's why. Unless you are doing the exact same thing as your students at every given point in time, there is no guarantee that this one little troubleshooting step that I'm asking you to do that fixes 99% of all problems is not going to work. It's when they second guess me. I'm sorry, who's the expert here? Who is getting paid to solve your tech issues? It's not you. They don't pay you the money to fix your tech issues. They in fact, the union group discourages you from fixing your own tech issues specifically so that you don't mess with the technology that we give you. Are you, Daniel Fullman, Weebo, are your users in the same building or miles away? Oh, they're miles away. And it's good that they are.
And Daniel Fullman just asked about, oh, okay, well, fuck you, honey.
What?
Dan Fulham just asked, are there any Victorian Halloween traditions that you're going to follow? And I am aware of Victorian Christmas traditions, which are largely pretty fucking awesome, I gotta say.
Yeah.
But I hadn't stopped to think about Victorian Halloween traditions. So I just typed in Victorian Halloween traditions and came to, it's like, oh, well, here's some of them. And it's, you know, it's like the little about thing on this person's blog and says, I'm a published author, writer, quiet rebel, entrepreneur, witch, and modern day priestess. Bye.
That's it?
No, I'm saying bye. I don't want to hear from a witch and modern day priestess with your power crystals and bundle of sticks that you worship out in the woods while doing naked dances around campfires, pretending that you have some kind of incantation power. Fuck off, weirdo.
Polly, keep an open mind. You don't know that this is legitimate completely.
Yes, your Ouija board made by Parker Brothers actually contacts the spirit world. Sure, let's go with that.
It's legit. You don't know. Assassins of the Grey makes an excellent point. You have the chance to help people. I never get irritated when people thought bullets went up from the barrel. I taught them how ballistics works. I'm not irritated that I have to teach people. I don't mind teaching people. Thank you. It's when they ask for my help and I give them the option to get help and they're like, this didn't work. You're not doing your job correctly. I'm not going to do what you say because that's stupid. You know, when they second guess, when they second guess my, not expertise, because I don't feel like an expert, but when they think that they know better, but I'm the helpline that they're calling to get the answers and help that they need, that pisses me off. Because, like I said, I don't mind teaching people or having conversations with them and helping them with their tech issues. It's when they come at me belligerent or when they say it's my fault that X, Y, or Z doesn't work or when they say I'm not going to do that thing that you told me to do because I don't think that that's the issue, that pisses me off.
Sanico, no different than any other religion. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Sanico?
I'm assuming that you don't pronounce the T. I probably just totally butchered that person's name.
oh, you meant a person. I thought you meant like the name of a religion. I'm like, I don't see that in the chat. I wasn't looking at names.
I'd be willing to bet that there's someone somewhere who calls their religion Sanico. I mean,
maybe, you don't know.
Is it really that far from Senesca?
That's a reference. Oh boy.
Yeah, there's some inside internet baseball, huh?
Assassins are great. Weebo Jones, imagine that problem when the student outranks the instructor and they are stupid.
Oh, hey, Gamer Valine, how's it going?
I'm not gonna lie, there are people out there that know more than me about tech. I just don't think that they're the ones calling the helpline. For the most part. Just, you know.
Have you ever actually said to somebody when they call and ask for help, fuck, that's a good question, I don't know.
Yeah, I have done that. And I go, all right, submit a help test ticket and someone with greater knowledge on the subject will get back to you. Like, for instance, at one of the buildings that I support, the Wi-Fi periodically goes out. Actually, at several of the buildings that I support, the Wi-Fi periodically goes out at the exact same time. Like, every other day or every day, depending on the building, for I have no fucking clue what reason. But the user gets disconnected. I don't know what's going on. I'm not the network support. I'm just IT. I am software strictly. That's actually my role, is to support software that we as a company utilize for performance. So that's what I know. So I usually direct them to our ticketing system. And I'd be like, all right, submit a ticket. Someone from the network team will get to you. And that's what they do. But like that happens quite often where someone asks me a question and I'm like, please hold. And I have to go to someone else to ask them a question because they know more than me. It happens quite frequently. I'm not prideful enough to not admit that. All right. I have enough humility to be like, can you help me, please? Because I want to do my job right. I don't want to not do my job. And sometimes I can be a little bit annoying. Like the amount of Zoom issues that I've had to deal with this year alone. Oh, I hate that application so much. And I have to constantly bother one of my coworkers about it because technically they are support for Zoom exclusively. I am not. I don't have access to that database. And that's the other thing that people don't understand is like, well, why can't you do this? You're supposed to be the help desk. Yes, but I don't have access to all of the printer data. Sorry. I can alert the person who does have that access, but I physically cannot fix your problem for you immediately over the phone. Or I can transfer you to them, but they might be busy. Or they might not be here. That's, yeah.
Sanico, I'm not going to turn cocktail hour into a discussion. It's way the fuck off topic, but just to answer Sanico's question. How prayer by naked by a fire or in a church is looking for external help. If we're speaking general in those terms, and yeah, I would agree with that description of it. But what I'm thinking of are a lot of the witches and a priestess and occultists and stuff. And what they are describing is a vague mishmash of incoherent and sometimes contradictory, I wouldn't even call them belief systems. I would call them folk traditions that are taken. So a little bit of Celtic this and a little bit of European that, and then some of the pantheon of Roman gods. And then I'm going to involve power crystals and pyramid power. And I'm going to drink this cleansing tea. And what I'm thinking of is the people that kind of run with generalized occultism. It has no unified theology. It has no unified system. It's just you're interested in vague folk spirituality and has left you wide open to mockery because from me, in my opinion, that's all any of this is, because of just how mishmash, potpourri, load of nonsense fuckery it is in the end. That's it. It isn't anything consistent. And I'm not saying that anybody needs to believe in an organized religious system, but at least if there's a thought out unified theology there's an underlying worldview that underlay it all. as opposed to just, oh, well, here's some things I generally like because I saw a witch in a movie doing some things I thought were cool, and I like cloaks and black cats, which is what, unfortunately, a lot of it boils down to when you read a lot of the shitty blogs and power crystals and how often are they trying to sell you something. Just my opinion. Don't think anybody has to agree with it at all.
Okay, so I have a question following up with that point that you just made, right? Doesn't that constitute a lot of religions that are mainstream, though? Like, a lot of religions borrow from other religions or take inspiration, I guess, from other religions. For instance, we have the existence of flood myths across multiple different religions. That's not a coincidence, Polly.
Okay. If you start talking about ancient aliens, I'm leaving.
No. For instance, that's not what I'm getting at. I'm saying that cross-cultural inspiration happens, and that it's not a coincidence that the Romans decided to take the Greek pantheon and slap different names on them and rebrand.
Mm-hmm.
But with like more Romanness. There are a number of different religions that have a Jesus-esque figure, or a Jesus figure who has, similar traits. I mean,
okay, well,
religions
just
borrow from each
chat.
other.
Remember, Weebo started this. I just wanted to answer Saniko's.
We have 4 minutes.
So no worries, you can ignore me. No, you asked a fair question,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the internet, and fair questions are rare, so I'm happy to answer them.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I don't mind going over time to have a deep philosophical question. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying. 4 minutes.
And
no pressure.
I wish Farah's upside down harlot had a wrench. Hint. Because then she could post.
All right.
She could post the link to where the top that reference is from, which is like, if you haven't seen that video clip of he's so funky. It's just, that's where that top that reference comes from, and it's awesome.
All right, she's got a wrench.
Okay, again, I want to preface all this with, this is just my opinion. Okay, no one has to agree with me. Don't even allow me to persuade you if you don't want to be. But naturally, I lose patience very, very quickly with the arguments of there's a similarity in Christ figures. There is the origins of Christian traditions can be found in paganism. I'll tell you why I lose patience with them, because the things that make Christianity or Islam or Judaism in them and of them unique are consistent within their own theology. I don't care if a Yule log has a tradition in pagan practice. I don't care if a Christmas tree has an origin in pagan practice. Then practice that thing. It doesn't make it any less Christian that symbolism was adopted somewhere else. For example, the cruciform symbol, the cross, or as they call it in high-end religious studies, called the cruciform symbol, predates Christianity. Right, it does. It has symbolism inside of Chan Buddhism and so forth, the cruciform symbol. Does that make it any less?
Swastika, another prime example.
Does it make it any less Christian? Well, it's like, well, this symbol, this thing, this just, cross. Well, is that an addition symbol? No. I mean, it also has a meaning inside of mathematics. But everybody here knows what the hell the cross is about inside of Christianity, or at least is vaguely familiar with it. It's about Christ's mission of salvation and willing to die for our sins, thus salvation becomes possible through a very particular monotheistic view of the world. Not that anybody has to believe in it, not that I believe in it. It's just the idea that a form cannot be taken and reconsecrated for a different purpose seems weak to me. It's like, the Easter tradition was strongly established because it's when it is during the year, right around Passover, because according to the gospel story, that's when Jesus was crucified. So that's when it happens. It was well established. And it's like, oh, well, it's only because it's happening during the spring season and it's about rebirth and so forth. And that's obviously where it all comes from. No, there's nothing obvious about that. That's just being an internet smartass or publishing popular editions to take swipes at a world religion hoping to be noticed. That's clout chasing. That's all that is. It's like, no, the tradition of Easter at that time of the year goes back to, because that's That's when Passover is. That's why Easter floats around, like the date of Easter floats around year to year, because it's based on the Jewish lunar calendar when Passover happens.
Yeah.
Unless you want to start connecting Passover to traditions of spring renewal and rebirth. Then over centuries, things like bunnies and eggs and things that were of pagan origin became associated with the Christian holiday and were consecrated for that purpose. I don't see the problem. Like, meaning like, it had its origins over here. Yeah, that's an interesting historical fact. I find it interesting too. Does that undermine its value as a piece of Christian symbolism? I don't remotely see how.
Well, no, the reason I brought up that there are parallels between religions on certain aspects, right, is because they become symbolic or indicative of symbolism within that religion over time, as long as they're associated with that. Sometimes it can be as immediate as, say what happened with the swastika in the Second World War, or it can be significantly drawn out, but it does take time for those symbols, practices, religious traditions to embed themselves into the culture. And so what if what you're seeing right now happening in real time is just simply that on a very small scale, but in the broader context of what we're looking at? If you look at the timeline, you take a step back, you're like, okay, same kind of deal.
It is. You make an interesting point that it does happen over time, and that's the reality of organic storytelling and organic symbol development. Like, not in the first 3-4 centuries of Christianity was Christmas celebrated very strongly. Yeah, so who cares? It's like, it was obviously just hijacked. I mean, that's what I lose patience with. It was just stolen from Saturnalia.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, there's actually a really strong, long-standing tradition of recognizing Christ's birth happening in late fall, early winter. That's not new. The celebration of it took place over a long period of time. Do you not think that those pagan celebrations developed over a long period of time organically as well? Would you accuse them of hijacking something else? Just the whole notion of hijacking implies a maliciousness or a malevolence of, we're going to take over this other thing. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking? I mean, you take a look at what gets called in religious studies the Isis lactans. I think is a great example. It's Isis suckling her child at her breast, Osiris. Mm-hmm. That is a terribly determinative piece of iconography in early Christianity, because it's like, here's this symbol that's very, very similar to Jesus and Mary, obviously, and that you see the paintings of Jesus and Mary looking very much like what gets called the Isis lactans. That particular type of look. Now, anybody who's involved in Christian worship or Christian practice or Christian theology, when they're looking at medieval paintings of Jesus and Mary and Jesus suckling at Mary's breast, is not thinking of ancient Egyptian religion. I mean, like I said, it's like looking at the cruciform symbol and assuming that addition is involved, or assuming that eternal salvation for your soul's involved. It depends on the context.
Yeah.
I just think people want to sound like smart asses online or in their trashy little popular books that they write saying, well, here's the real origin of this. By the way, it's not entirely about internet atheists. You get a lot of buck fucking crap crazy evangelical small country churches saying that there's pagan symbols sneaking into our religion and we need to keep it, there's occult symbolism in your children's toys. And it's like, dude, calm the fuck down. Even if there is, it's been totally reconsecrated for a Christian purpose. Chill your tits. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. But I was approaching this topic not from the perspective of, I want Polly to go off on those angsty atheists who really desperately want to just stick it to the man. I was coming at this from.
Well,
the angsty
atheists. They are my favorite target because I think they're not targeted enough.
Well, because you started talking about those, neo-pagan types who just borrow from every single religion. And I'm like, but wait, hang on. Isn't that a staple of culture, to borrow from other cultures? And yes, it might be trendy in the context of looking at it from your very narrow perspective of the like time period that you are a part of, but like historians and archaeologists 200 years from now are going to look at it and be like, this was borrowed from this culture, and this is a result of the influence from this culture because of this X, Y, and Z cause and effective mumbo jumbo shenanigans.
It's natural and it's organic and it's fine and it's good. Imagine Italian cooking without tomatoes. Because for centuries they were. Tomato is a new world fruit that was unknown to the old world.
Yes. Oh my God, I love that fun fact. It's probably one of my favorite fun facts because it always blows everyone's mind. But yes, exactly.
Imagine Southern Italian cooking specifically without tomatoes. It's hard to even imagine. But for literally centuries and centuries and centuries, the tomato was nowhere in Southern Italian cooking. Well, thank God it was, because Naples cuisine is epic.
So good with tomato. Oh gosh, I have.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, of course, 100%. I have the greatest tomato sauce recipe for spaghetti, or spaghetti sauce recipe made with tomatoes, obviously, duh. But like canned tomatoes that you have to mash yourself and boil for an hour, and it's like a whole process, or not boil, but simmer for an hour. Tomatoes. Yes. When it comes to cooking, I like to cook with them. Yeah. Especially when it comes to Italian cooking. But yes, I get what you're saying. I was just trying to expand the conversation a little bit, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's the angsty internet atheists, or angry ex-girlfriend atheism, as I call it. There is no more fun topic for me, because these people should be laughed right out of existence. I feel bad for somebody that is so. It's not the creators that I find hard to understand. I actually find them very easy to understand. Your TJ Kirks, your Bible Reloadeds, your Dark Matter 2525s, your what Sticks X and Hammer 666 used to do, because he doesn't anymore. Repeatedly producing content where your entire channel is basically dedicated towards atheism. I get why you're doing it, personal promotion and so forth. I don't get the subscribers who watch religiously, pardon the pun. It's like, what is your life so empty that a negation actually produces meaning for you? I am not this thing. I lack this thing. I am so not about this belief, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that
I think I can actually answer
that is so hollow to me.
As someone who had that kind of an experience, who went through that phase of, I need to have my negative opinion about this validated. And I'm not saying negative as in like opinion. I'm saying like, I need to be reassured that I'm not absolutely insane in the thinkings that I'm having, because I'm the only one that is having them. Like, I need to know that I'm not being gaslit here. Because you seek validation in your opinions, even if those are a negation of someone else's opinions. Because for so long, you have been exposed to the kind of life where those opinions have been just completely wrong across the board for everyone else. And so you seek to find that community. And for a lot of people, it is about the community, but it's also about the validation that, hey, they're not absolutely batshit insane, possessed by the devil, so going straight to hell. It is something that they crave because they want to know that they're not alone. Does that make sense? And yes, it can go to like that extreme levels, but that is the basis for that kind of consumption of content.
You know what? I do get that. Yeah, fair enough. I get that part of it. I remember watching a video by Steve Shives, of all people.
Oh, moist lips.
Yeah. I remember him talk about that the first time he went to an atheist conference, which is just like, Jesus, cringe lord. Oh my God. I mean, Steve Shives is definitely a cringe lord in and of himself, but like, it's a cringe con. Cringe con. I love that. And he did say something similar to what you just said. It was interesting to be surrounded by people who, and listening to him rather, stumble around his words, who believe, think like I do. And man, you were really desperate for a sense of community. That's all I'm seeing there.
Yeah. Social creatures, that's not a surprise, is it?
No, it's like, that is not a surprise to find meaning in lack of external meaning is a sign of modernity if I've ever seen one. Like I believe in science. I love when people say that.
You don't believe in science.
Yeah, you believe in a rationally derived empirical methodology for answering experimental questions.
Good for you, kiddo.
Yeah, like what this that's like saying you believe in quadratic equations. It's a given methodology for approaching a particular thing that's only applicable to certain things.
It's like saying you believe in round earth theory. You believe this fact?
That
what?
Return to monk. No, Zelthar, we will not return to monk. You're right. The social thing, I get that, but I mean, and somebody actually just mentioned something that made me realize I dropped the ball a little earlier when I said Isis suckling Osiris. No, Horus. Osiris was her consort.
I'm not as familiar with Egyptian mythology as I am with Greek or Roman mythology, so I'll let it slide.
No. If
I
you
will
can't admit
allow.
when you drop the ball, what fucking good are you? That's my fault.
That's fair. You know what? I definitely appreciate when people can admit that they make mistakes.
The
fuck is monk? What is monk? What's going on in the chat? I don't know what's going on.
God damn it, Selthor.
Return to monk.
It's a meme. There's a ape in a tree, and he's reaching out with his hand, and it's like reject modernity, return to the forest. You know, that kind of.
Did I Google it? Oh, that's what that is. Reject humanity, return to monk. Takes hand, embrace monk, and reject humanity. You know what? I can get behind this. Embrace tradition. Oh, this is great. This is good. I'm gonna use this.
Have you ever you talk about like what came to mind with the reference to Horus, and what came to mind with your previous reference to look how many Jesus figures they are that are all distinctly different. And again, I lose patience with those very quickly. People like referencing the cult of Mithras, specifically the figure of Mithras. I remember watching Bill Maher's Religiosity, or whatever the fuck the name of it movie was, and he approaches a guy who's like a Jesus impersonator, guy who basically dresses like former atheist internet superstar Armored Shill now dresses. You know, he dresses like Jesus now and wants to start a cult. It's pretty weird.
I haven't been keeping up with his content.
The only reason I know is because Farr pointed it out to me. It's like, Jesus Christ, sorry for the pun. He really did grow his hair long and wears robes and says, I want to start a religion. And it's like, you were always a lost man in search of some kind of meaning. You know, getting angry at God won't fill that hole in your soul, sir.
He's kind of taking a leaf out of Onision's book. Is that what I'm hearing here?
Oh, God, absolutely fucking seems like it. It's just like...
How do you go
I think the guy was simply out of content, and he's no longer with shoe on head. So the guy's gone full fucking crazy, or is imitating.
No one's gonna like me now unless I form a cult. I lost my big titty anime girlfriend.
Yeah, who knows why he's doing? I'm just saying he's doing it. But I remember when Bill Maher, that jackass who's hated across the entire political spectrum. Luckily, that lets me know that liberals aren't insane. They just have different policy decisions. Now the commies, they're insane. It's because everybody dislikes Bill Maher from across the political spectrum. It's only people who want to feel smart and want to hear somebody just in a smarmy, condescending, ignorant ass way say, well, we're smarter than everyone. That's Bill Maher's entire comedic shtick. So he approaches this guy in this movie.
I love that though. Schmarmy, inconsiderate, condescending. Sign me up. I'm all about that.
Like Bill Maher is, because I got to describe him better if you want to be like him.
No, it was a jest.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be like him. He approaches this guy and says, well, Mithras, he died and then rose again 3 days later. And it came for salvation and was born of a virgin. And he just listed off all these notions of the Jesus gospel, right?
Yeah.
But none of those things are true of Mithras. There's no documents at all. And fact check me. unlike Bill Maher, I'll encourage you to go find out anything that isn't other than archaeology that could be determined about the cult of Mithras. There's no documents that survive, none of their theological understanding, none of their prayers, none of their descriptions of their rituals, nothing. No correspondences that reference it, nothing. Everything that is known of Mithras comes exclusively from archaeology. They found their dining centers where they would get together and have communal meals. And from the mosaics on the walls and the paintings on the walls, one can attempt to determine certain things. And that is it, full stop. Everything else is imagined upon it in the 1800s by writers who were writing fancifully. There is no historical basis for it. No,
fictioning the cult of Mithras is what you're saying.
Absolutely. And Horus is the same exact thing. It's like, oh, well, he died and he came back. And I mean, it's Jesus. Everyone has this Jesus thing. Are you fucking kidding me? Her consort Osiris was split into multiple parts and spread all over the world. So she goes around and collects them and sews them back together in like a sort of mummification sort of thing, except for the one body part she couldn't find, his phallus. So she creates through magic his own phallus. Oh yeah, sounds just like fucking Jesus. Come on, stop reading into it because you want. If you don't want to believe Christianity, don't. But don't make up shit to be able to say, well, it's actually just borrowed and hijacked. Yeah. Because that's like, if you don't want to follow it, don't fucking follow it. And that's my advice.
You don't need that excuse to not follow it, is what you're
exactly.
saying.
Just move the fuck on, which is why I call it angry ex-girlfriend atheism. You sound like an angry ex-girlfriend. I hate my ex-boyfriend. I'm so powerful and independent. I've moved on from him. But all I talk about is him. I stalk him online the way atheists stalk religious people online. I claim that he's evil and I've moved beyond him. Yet anyone who will listen, I will go into a lengthy description about how bad he is and how horribly he abused me, but I'm totally moved on. Right. Sure you have. You definitely sound like it. God doesn't exist now. Listen to me describe how much I hate him.
She sounds like she needs a few more sessions of therapy, like intense therapy.
Jesus totally had a magic dick. Oh yeah. I remember reading that in the Bible. I
think that was what, Theologians chapter 72. Verse.
Hey, listen, man, if you had some bad church you grew up in and shitty stuff happened to you there, that fucking sucks. But if handle it in therapy, not on YouTube, you know?
I am so happy that I went through my angry ex-girlfriend atheism phase when I was in like middle school to high school, because I've outgrown it now and I'm over it. It's not going to make you happy. It's like, what is it doing for you? It's going to entrench you in bitterness. And do you know who atheists are? Because everyone can relate to this, I think, a little bit better. Atheists remind me exactly of vegans. How do you know when someone's a vegan? Because they told you. That's how you know. That's how you know. Okay, but you say that and you sound super like salty about it, but I agree with you, but I have a little bit more compassion because I used to be that person, and now I'm a more rational person, as you can probably tell. I got out.
I will admit that, like that is a bias I have. That I didn't grow up with that. I didn't have to deal with any of the things that I've heard that people dealt with in their churches or their synagogues, or their mosques for that matter. So I don't have that kind of feeling towards it, but that kind of gives you this outsider perspective when somebody's talking about how fake religion is and they reference to sitting there as a child and feeling that none of it spoke to them, that they saw it all as fairy tales. And I'm like, okay, have you moved on from it though? Because here you are as a full grown adult still talking about what you thought as an 8-year-old child.
Some people, Polly, and I think you can agree on this, don't mature past the age of 16.
Well, that's a hell of a harsh indictment you just laid out there.
You know it to be true, though.
So you think a determining factor in some atheists is that they're emotionally arrested in childhood?
I think that there are no, not just atheists. Okay, not just angry ex-girlfriend atheist types. What I'm getting at here is there are a number of people who have the case of arrested development at an age where emotion reigns supreme over the rational thought, and they have this uncaringness that they assume regarding the rest of the world that doesn't fall in line with their worldview. They have a pettiness about them that is pervasive, and it's all very childish to me. Not like childish to the point where it's like 5-year-old shenanigans, but it's pretty immature. We can agree, right?
Yep.
That level of pettiness that we are all susceptible to. All right. People delve into their childishness from time to time when they get overly emotive about certain things. But some people are more in touch with their 16-year-old arrested development selves than others. Okay. That's what I'm getting at here. And I feel like people who are more vulnerable to that are the people who might have had a more intense upbringing in that respect when we're talking about atheists, when we're talking about arrested development, emotional, angry ex-girlfriend, teenage atheists.
Fair enough. No, there was. I do dig what Gamer Valine said here. Of course, it speaks to what I think. So yeah, I dig it. But she says Bill Maher frames it so intelligence is direct inverse to religious faith, and they operate on a scale. Your intelligence will increase or decrease depending on how much you follow a theistic religion. Yeah, he does. He goes, there's science and intelligence and smarts, and then on the other end of the scale, there's religious thought. Of course, this Bill Maher and anybody who agrees with that kind of thinking, because it's like, oh, if you're not a religious person, that means you're smart. Think about the framing of it, as Gamer Valine described it. He's priming you. He's saying, well, smart people don't believe in religion. Well, his audience isn't full of religious people to begin with, or anybody who's vaguely spiritual. Like, I'm just talking in a general sense.
Yeah.
He appeals to people that are wholly secular and think society should be largely secular, or have a leaning in that way, generally speaking. And it's like, so if you agree with me, that makes you smart because I framed it in this way.
But that's a flawed way of thinking, though, because some of the smartest people on the planet who have existed in time, like Socrates, Plato, highly revered.
Actually, Socrates. Well, one of the reasons Socrates drank hemlock was because of accused atheism and misanthropy. Accused. Yeah.
Accused.
He questioned the gods of Athens.
Well, you can question them, but you still question that. Okay. Anyway, what I'm saying is some of the most intelligent people that we revere to this day were religious.
Well, of course they were, and this is one of the reasons that I have such a ongoing dissatisfaction with running into Neil deGrasse Tyson anywhere I go online, is because he is absolutely wrong.
Oh, that's right. You have a hate boner for Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I said a dissatisfaction with running into him online.
Hate boner. See, even though boyfriendo gets it.
I find him a frustrating man because he will argue that he is an atheist, but then when questioned about it specifically, will say, well, as a scientist, I can't believe in anything that isn't provable, and it hasn't been proven that God doesn't exist. It's shut up.
As a scientist.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. But he will hold up people like Sir Isaac Newton, who he claims as one of his personal heroes, and I can understand why. He's a very brilliant man, also a deeply religious man. I mean, people talk about Darwinism being in opposition to religion, although Darwin is buried in one of the largest Anglican churches and is a hero of the Anglican Church and was a man of faith himself. Wait, what? Yeah. And the list goes on. So people will reference modern individuals and will say it is more common for, look, 90% of scientists, a totally made up statistic that they just pulled out of their butt, are all atheists, The social sciences are currently dominated by moderate to far left-leaning people. Does that mean psychology is inherently communist? Now, Zelthor's in chat, so he's going to say yes, but that's because he's a smartass. The answer is no, it's not. It's just not. The self-selecting nature of how institutions work have led to that happening. It's not that smarter people who view the world or actively engage with science come to a realization that God doesn't exist. And that's what people like Bill Maher are trying to intimate, but never want to outright say. They're just like, oh, well, the smart people. So if I can find someone smarter than you who disagrees with you, that means you're automatically wrong.
That's a horrible way of going about doing things.
Of course
But
it is,
also-
because that's what I call a credential fight.
Yeah.
Because it's whoever has the higher credentials automatically wins the argument. Weebo, we're having a conversation about politics. I'm a doctoral student in political science. That means I win every argument. I have better
I have a
credentials than
black
you.
belt in Taekwondo. I have a higher credential than you in that. Like, are we talking amount or just levels academically, or can
Well,
like
people love doing that, right?
wait. What if how many certifications do I need to have in order to supersede your doctoral studentship?
You need to supersede a PhD, or well, you need to have an actual PhD. If I said studentship, then you need to have a PhD. You
Okay, no. I meant like how many certifications? Like, okay, so you like in the IT field, you can get a number of different certifications for anything that has to do with IT. So that's like Java certification, C++ certification. I'm certified in, or like you could be certified in CompTIA for like there are a number. That's what I'm getting at here. How many
I've
of
seen
those?
the fake alphabet soup after a bunch of people's names who don't have actual accredited degrees, so they just fill up the space with meaningless, like I said, alphabet soup of certifications they got that took them like 2 months to complete.
A degree, I will say, has not taught me everything that I need to know about the job that I'm doing. I'm using very little of my coding skills.
Fair enough. But you can have all the certifications you want. And I have a number of certifications myself, but I don't use them as post-nominals after my name.
No, of course
that's
not. No,
embarrassing.
No. What I'm getting at here is, since we're having a certification dig off, right? Not that we are, but like if we have two intellectuals and the deciding factor for who is right is how intellectual they are. How many certifications does a person have to have before they've superseded a PhD?
Oh,
is there a number?
I would say none. Certifications don't do it. Then it becomes the illustriousness of the institution from which you got your PhD.
Seriously?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, someone from Harvard getting a degree over versus, like, I don't know, name some janky DePaul University.
Well, I could tell you the ranking. Oxford is the Trump. Oxford is the royal flush of PhDs. It shuts down every conversation. Oxford is better than Cambridge, and Cambridge is better than Harvard, and Harvard is better than Yale in that order. In terms of people going, ooh, yes, that's
well, yeah, in terms of ooh factor, but I mean, like, legitimately, don't those fluctuate? Don't those change based off of the administration in power and who's teaching what? And yeah,
for particular programs, when you start moving down the into different stuff, like Harvard, well, I was about to say law, because that's a bad example, because Harvard law is like, the gold standard that everybody references, but that's how you get jobs. Remember, when somebody
is the ooh factor. Yes, yes, absolutely. But we're not talking about jobs. We're talking about who's right in an intellectual debate based off of
that carries a lot of weight too. I mean, think about this for a second. Let me give you an example. One of the most frustrating examples that I come across. I will say Rachel Maddow's a moron, and people will say, no, she's right. And we'll start arguing why she's right and say, well, she's a Rhodes Scholar. That's a credential fight. I don't give a fuck if she's a Rhodes Scholar. Did you know the majority of the Nazi leadership all had PhDs? What's your fucking point?
The majority of
they did. And I know we went full Godwin. It had to happen eventually, but we did it. Hitler had to come up.
Well, isn't that a rule in the internet? I'm pretty sure, right? That's a rule. At any point in a debate, if it delves into Hitler territory, the debate is over, right?
Well, here's the thing. Gamer Valine just said an interesting point, and it goes a lot of different directions, but mostly in one. Credential fights suck.
Yes.
Because it's like, okay, I may not agree with you, and it's like, well, I've got more credentials. So wait a minute. Does that mean if I go find someone who's got more credentials than you disagrees with you, you suddenly become wrong? That's the stupidity of the game. It's we're not talking about the subject or the issue or the point or the policy anymore. We're talking about paperwork on people's walls, and which is crazy. Gamer Valine said, you may be a doctoral student, but this high school grad, I don't have enough credits to be in college classes, could fix your computer, car, and then go fix a 737. Now, those things I could. Okay, now those things I couldn't do, which is a statement to why credential fights suck.
Yeah,
With
because
that
they don't measure
said,
up for the subject.
I've had conversations with people, and they will start telling me the things that I study all day, every day. Not broadly politics, but the particular field of study that I focus on. And they'll start explaining to me what they know about it, be dead ass fucking wrong, based largely on what they read from Twitter and Facebook. And I try to explain, look, this is where this comes from. It's like, well, give me a source on that. When the only sources you could give me are social media, get fucked. So, I mean, I would appreciate a little deference on certain subjects, but the truth is, in the end, it's not worth anything because they all boil down to credential fights. And those are no good. You know what?
I actively avoid them.
I meant to look up Godwin's law. Is it specific to the internet the way Godwin's law is written? That any argument on the internet will eventually result in someone calling someone Hitler? Or is it any argument at all?
Godwin's law, or Godwin's rule of Hitler analogies, is an internet adage asserted that as an online discussion grows longer, the probability of a comparison involving Nazis or Hitler approaches 1.
And we did it in 2 hours and 30 minutes.
No, if you think about it, we did it in 30 minutes and 34 minutes because this conversation started 34 minutes ago. This half of the intellectual debate. It spanned from the atheism debate, or no, not the atheism debate. It spanned from that conversation regarding religious, silly people, into religious people in general, into atheism, into intellectual heads, into what we're talking about right now, which is how many certifications does it take to equal a PhD?
I like Alpha Omega's line. How do you split that difference? You should at least know the difference between an instant mashed potato and that isn't a dehydrated potato. There's the line of demarcation for you, Weebo.
Excuse me for taking the most literal interpretation of what you were talking about.
Well, you know what? BG raises a great point. The ultimate proof of college credentials don't matter. David Hogg is getting into Harvard. Okay. One quick thing. I get your point, and I realize you're also a smart ass, so you're being a smart ass. Which is that's why I love having you.
Out shit, Polly.
I have told BG knows that he's a smart ass, and that's why I love having him around. It's great.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I didn't say college credentials don't matter. I said when you turn a particular point, it's like I'm educated in this given area. Yeah, you probably know a lot about it, but when you use it as a reason that you're right in a given argument, I am asserting A. I also have a PhD. Therefore, A is correct. That is fallacious. There, stated in first order logic.
First order logic. Ooh, fancy. I haven't heard that since my college days.
Well, that's pretty much the only place that kind of shit's going to come up. Or when you're ask yourself yelling shit at Sinatra. Fuck, if you want to see misuse of logic, go watch them when they talked about veganism. Jesus Christ. It's like a lot of the things Ask Yourself was saying, right, I understand where you're coming from. Why are you screaming them? I
get it. Calm down.
I have rarely, I don't think ever seen first order logic as badly misused and fucked in the ass as by Ask Yourself in his so-called conversation with Sinatra. It was insane. It was anyway. But it's an ultimate proof that college credentials don't matter. They don't matter when being used as a premise as to why you're right. Yes, I don't think they matter there. David Hogg getting into Harvard. Yeah, that tells you something that's highly criticizable, rightly so, about modern academia. Yes, he got in because of legacy programs. His mother went there. His father's a former FBI special agent, but largely because of the legacy program, because his mother went there. A large part of private universities in a big way are about culling money from their alumni. If it wasn't for that, they wouldn't have the multi-billion with a B dollar endowments that they have.
Hey, because that's my school. You're just describing my school.
Yeah, they immediately start pressuring graduates right after graduate. I got it when I graduated from undergrad. I got a call and they said, so now that you've graduated, we're wondering where you're going. This is the alumni committee. They were asking for fucking money. And I said, I'm in a master's program. I got a scholarship. I moved on to a master's degree. And they're like, oh, okay. 6 months later, I got a call. from the alumni office saying, oh, so we understand that you graduated. I'm like, I already had this call from you. Can you stop bugging me and wait till I'm done grad school? That's how fast they're on it. The likelihood of somebody giving to the alumni committee, to the university, is increased if they are second or third generation students. My ex-girlfriend was going to the same university as her brother. And because of the legacy program at the time, they both had half tuition. Because if you have graduated from that university, the same one as your sibling, you were that. See, as soon as her brother graduated, several years ahead of her, her tuition doubled. It went up to normal. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's
Nope.
That's how David Hogg got into Harvard. His SATs certainly weren't the reason. His stupidity online certainly wasn't the reason. I remember watching Sticks, Hex, and Hammer, who chalked it up largely to the fact that he was a known controversial figure online and that he would go on to produce fame for the university. Yes, I understand.
Harvard, though, come on. What more do they need in terms of advertisement?
I understand the point that Sticks was making, but that was only about 25% of the reason. The majority of it was who his mother was, a smaller part that his father was somebody of means and wealth, which is likely that he will be someone of means and wealth. But largely it was the legacy thing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You want to hear a funny story before we close up the stream? It relates to exactly the topic you're talking about.
Sure.
So I had a friend who was a freshman the same year that I was. He was a floor above us, though, in the dorms. Balik and I both knew him. He was like a trumpet. No. A clarinet major, I think. Because you can major in clarinet. And he ended up dropping out of college junior year, I think. Or he got kicked out because of his grades, because they were so abysmal.
Okay, well, I don't mean to interrupt your story, but one, I didn't know that you could major in a particular instrument. I thought you had to major, like be a fine arts major who focused on like music theory or something. Didn't know you could.
You could do that. Yeah, my cousin, he actually, we went to the same school and he majored in violin.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. So wait a minute. So the guy majoring in clarinet was getting bad grades in clarinet to the point where he flunked out?
Well, his gen ed, so overall his GPA was not high enough to maintain his academic scholarship.
Oh, okay.
And so
Gotcha.
He ended up dropping out because of that.
Okay.
So he left junior year, didn't see him very much after that. Heard from him a few times, but the last that I heard of him, he was telling both myself and Balik that he was getting phone calls from our school regarding, alumni donations. This is a kid that did not graduate with us.
Wow. They just had him on the list of scholarship recipients and were making calls, huh?
No. They're like, we noticed that you were an alumni of this school. Would you like to donate to the efforts of the school to keep the, this was when they were getting super desperate during COVID and the height of all of the college protests, because we had our fair share of college protest shenanigans happen that gave the school some really bad press that lowered the admission rates. So that was a whole thing. This was during that he got this phone call that the school was like, oh shit, we're gonna have to either have a miracle happen or fire some fucking teachers. There's a whole shitstorm. Anyway, yeah. So that was the thing. A good time. Danny Coleman, when is our violin concert? That's a good question. I have to bug my brother to bring my bow back from where he is at college, because he's also on a violin scholarship. He took my bow with him to college because he needed a spare bow, and I need it back. So I'll ask him to bring it back with him when he comes down to visit. Give it to old boyfriendo during Lumberjack weekend when they see each other. But I don't give you a guarantee is the thing.
Again, this is a particular thing that bugs me, peculiar to me. But the biggest fraud scholarship in all of academia is the crew team scholarship.
What the fuck's a crew team?
The 4 dudes in a boat that all have the oars. The
rowing boat. Scholarship?
Yeah, it's crew. Is it really? Yeah, absolutely. because it used to be big timey and old timey rather, and it used to be big time in the old time. Right? To do that, it was amongst the young gentlemen's endeavors that when one was going off to be educated to college, you got on the crew team and you did the thing. So it still exists. Crew team scholarships all over the fucking place. What's her name? Lori Laughlin's daughter, who faked her entrance to, was it UCLA or USC? I forget. Yeah, she faked being on the crew team. Yeah, sat in a boat and had a picture taken of her to make it look like she had experience at crew stuff, because academics still take it seriously.
I do recall that.
Yeah. And it goes back to as an interesting side piece of trivia, like, what is the Ivy League? How does one be in the Ivy League? What makes universities in the Ivy League that?
Don't I know this answer? You told me this answer. It has to do with the specific sports that you have, or sports team that you have.
It's an athletic association.
Yeah.
The Ivy League was an old-timey athletic association. It's not academic prowess. It's just old universities. They were all founded by a bunch of religious monks, by the way.
It's a sports ball affiliation. That's all that Ivy League is.
It absolutely is. Although there's
Boom,
no ball.
Mind blown.
Yeah. And it tells you a lot about it, right? It's just how prestige is developed over time. But in academia, the coin of the realm is prestige. How prestigious of a journal, of a peer-reviewed journal, did you get published in? They even have rankings for them. They have impact ratings for your various articles that you've written in peer-reviewed journals. And the higher they are and the better they are, the more prestigious they are. When you're getting hired on at a university, you're not being hired because you're a good teacher. No one's ever been hired at a research university because they were a good instructor. They're being hired at their past prestige or their predicted future prestige in academia is being purchased. So they can promote the university and the department and the faculty off of the fact that they now have this person working for them.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've had a very good show. We've gone well over time, and I'm okay with that because
it's Weebo's fault.
It was a good conversation. It was my fault. I will say that. I brought up some shenanigans.
Well, it's fine. Everything was fine until Far showed up, and then just everything goes to hell when she's around. And,
that's fair. That's fair. Anyway, so Polly, would you like to shill anything before we sign off for the evening?
Assassin of the Grey was shilling my channel during stream, which was
a good boy.
Yeah, and that was greatly appreciated. But once again, there's a link to my channel, which is just /Polydub at YouTube. So I'm pretty easy to find that way with my vanity handle. And later on tonight, we will be doing Noir Bar. There, I was able to English. So late night chill stream. Weebo is going to be off and sleep because that's past her pumpkin time.
Exactly.
But I did invite your boy Pat. Hopefully he'll be up and around at that time. But one way or another, we'll be doing a late night chill stream over there where we'll be doing a whole bunch more. 2 truths and a lie. We only got to do 1 here. But
sorry, we had better things to talk about than Star Trek.
It was one. There was only one Star Trek one, and you heard it. What? Anyway, we'll be doing that. We will 2 truths and a lie. We'll also be playing Name That Caption from WikiHow pictures taken off WikiHow Far's game, which was it's a pretty fun game. Turned out to be a pretty fun game, and a whole bunch of leftover articles of stupidity happening all around the world and other fun things like that. So join us for some late night chill in a 1942 bar, because that time was awesome in clothes and music. Because a lot of people are getting on me about segregation for some reason. It's not my fault. I wasn't even alive then. Fuck.
Rough.
Yeah, I know.
Big oof. Well, the one thing that I have to shill is the Halloween special, which will be coming out next weekend. Unless I die horribly in an accident before then. In which case, then, oops.
Oh, hey, Weebo. You know what Wednesday is?
Movie night?
This upcoming Wednesday?
Movie night?
No.
On the Discord.
Well, I mean, I guess it could be, but that's not.
It is movie night on the Discord.
Movie night on the Discord. Well, that explains where you're going to be. Because I was just about to point out, it is the 100th episode of Comic Book Curation.
Oh, shit!
Yeah, it is.
Fuck. Well,
yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Gentlemen, I hope that you have a very good stream, and I aim to catch some of it at some point. I don't know when. It probably won't be live, though, because we'll be busy watching movies, Halloween-related movies.
Fair enough.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this fine evening. We'll be back here with another episode of Cocktail Hour next week, same time, same place, same otter, same face. I'm your Weebo. This has been Polydub, and we are Cocktail Hour. I don't know what I'm saying. Bye.
Have a good night, everyone.